WestJet lately in the little snack box they give you. A little chocolate in there. It's called Awake. Have you seen this Awake chocolate? And it comes with caffeine in it. So I've been taking those and pretending it's like a real kick. Yeah. I was just like, oh, here we go.
Under the tongue and away we go.
Yeah, I turn around to the rest of the plane. I say, it's about to go down. And I open up and I eat this Awake chocolate. Hey, Dusty, yelling it's about to go down on a plane is probably not a good thing. That's a good point.
The Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings at 6, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tom Gazzola and Shawn Belle take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey, Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch, Sundays at 8:30, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla, as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Today's September 20th. It's a Wednesday. This is the EST Hangout. Mechanic with you here today.
Surprise!
What time is it? Supposed to be here with us today.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Eric with us because we don't know where our guests are right now. We have no idea where they're. Are you throwing us up on the stream?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm bringing up the phone so I can just talk with people.
Okay. Well, the volume's there. Okay.
I got to turn down. We're good.
So it's just the three.
Yeah, no, what's up?
So we're now nice and close. And Lieutenant Eric with us is well, do we fill people in on what's happening?
We might as well just.
Yeah, well, let's figure it out. I think this is the Tommy Gazzola issue.
Booked our guest today. He was on the phone with Shawn Belle last week. We were talking. He said, hey, Belle could come on the show next week with Spitzer. You guys good? I'm like, yeah, no, like Wednesday. And like, yeah. Wednesday. We planned it in for Wednesday. So I'm like, yeah, they're good for Wednesday.
And this is Wednesday.
So
that's on the phone.
Yeah, and last week comes. This week I send out a tweet with the whole lineup of EST this week. Tag all the guests.
Yeah.
Tag Shawn, tag Spitzer, and everything's good. Tom's now at the rink because Oilers are speaking. Well, we think he's at the rink.
That's another unconfirmed.
I think he's somewhere with Spitz and Bells.
Our guests have not shown up. I have texted Belle to see if he's still in on the hangout. So now I don't know if these guys are actually confirmed for the hangout.
This is the most Tommy Gazzola thing of all time.
Given all those things, we even had one other person that's like it's almost like we're living in a time warp loop here that nobody's
like. To me, this is like when, like, let's say you die and you're going to heaven, but you're stuck in between
purgatory,
and it's the three of us in purgatory.
Like, have you ever seen anybody else today? Another human besides us two?
No, it is. Guard wasn't even there.
So there you go. We might be in some sort of a.
I don't know what's going on. What are you looking at, Maddie?
Well, some people are saying my mic sounds weird.
Your mic sounds weird.
So yeah, so I was just
trying to somebody here to kind of
to test things,
do it on the go. I mean,
yeah. Do you want me to go listen?
No,
I'll just listen right here. I'll just bring it up.
We could do that, but I tried doing that. I've tried to adjust. They said they don't even know if my mic was on, and I'm speaking right into it. And I'm seeing levels in the
Yeah,
program,
they're seeing
so,
levels over there too.
and if they're seeing us, they should see the audio.
I'm seeing
You're
levels.
all pretty quiet, says Lori.
No, that's all.
Well, we can talk louder.
You guys do this.
No, here. No, Matt, just move the see that little white dot on the right? Move that up with the mouse on the right.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there,
yeah,
that
that
white
one.
thing, move that up.
So that is at 0.
There we go. Now,
Hey.
now we're
Okay.
cooking. I think it's good now.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said this year yesterday. Min Darwell.
Still warm?
Well, Min was mad that we didn't bring him a hat to the golf tournament yesterday.
Well, that's quick.
Well, we don't have a lot.
No,
Yeah,
very
we
minimal
don't have
hats.
a lot.
How many did we get? A shoebox.
12, and I've already earmarked all 12 of them, basically.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Who's getting hats?
Well, like Belle's getting a hat, and Gabe's
Wait,
getting
I
a
don't
hat.
think
Bells, he
Yeah,
can't even
yeah,
show
you
up
take
here
the hat
today and
away.
he's getting a hat?
Well,
Shouldn't be.
he's part of this.
Ah,
I think
okay,
you earned the
fine.
hat, though. Do you not? Like by no,
One person that is getting, some people are
think
saying
I-
perfect, much better.
Beautiful.
Hurrah! That's all happening on the nasty
So
chat
it's the
on
white
YouTube.
dot there. Yeah.
But it was like at 0 or whatever. Whatever. I don't know.
Well, it's good now.
We're working
Now
on a lot.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm still really weirded out that us plugging a computer into our hardwire is shutting down our internet for like 2 minutes a day. It was fine today.
But we fixed it, didn't
Once we go on Wi-Fi, it's
No
fine.
ticket created.
Once you plug it in, like it goes against everything I've believed in about internet.
Yeah.
Is that you want to be hardwired, not Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi is saving us.
I think our internet provider, which shall go unnamed, we don't have the fiber connection here, right?
No.
The building's too old. Fiber's not in the area yet. If you're listening, let's get fiber in this building, and then it would go a little bit smoother. But yeah, I figured we were just draining a little bit too much internet off that other computer yesterday.
But it's just for a couple minutes. Like it runs fine for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Listen, Maddie,
And then it stops for a couple minutes. And then for 4.5 hours, runs perfectly fine.
imagine bandwidth being the Henday, right? So we're cruising around the Henday.
You know,
Oh, man,
traffic, yeah.
things going great here
I
on the
did,
Henday
yeah.
today. Then you get to the southwest corner of the Henday, and it all goes to hell.
Yeah.
That's that internet when everything's plugged in for 2 minutes around 8:30.
I do like how the fiber will help things run smoothly. Like it's kind of that in life, in your
Should've
body, and
installed
on the
fiber on the Henday
Isn't that
years
just it?
ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I still don't get that one. But yeah, for the hats, like we do have to. There's a lot of plans for this. Right now, it'd be a great time to have talked about those off the air if we had guests and you guys could have done that. But I mean,
We
just
could have
really,
been doing so many other
Yeah.
things.
Our podcasts are going to be late today.
Yeah, no,
Like, just
everything's
straight up.
Everything's backed up now. So
Is
you
the
can
front
blame.
door locked?
No, Russian
I went
spot will
down
be
there.
open.
I went
Are
down.
you sure?
I
Murray
went down, I
McCord's
went
got
down.
an appointment.
Trev isn't even here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I seriously think we're not like alive. This has got. We're got to be in some sort of something. Been
Special.
except you two this
I'll
morning.
say
I don't.
this. I'll
The
say
chats are
this.
fake.
If this is heaven, I'm okay with it. You know, like
You're
if
saying
this
yes,
is
yeah.
if this is the rest of eternity,
Sure.
and we get to sit here and chat with like other ghosts on YouTube and in the text line, then I'm okay with it.
I'll take
It could be a lot worse.
Yeah. We got
I mean,
Water here.
yeah, we could be in hell, but we decided not to go with that route, so it's worked out pretty good, I guess. Hey, I want to say, huge fan of the show. We have a chance to listen.
Yes.
You.
I think the initial concept of the Hangout is really sort of hit home so far. I saw somebody, I was on the YouTube chat yesterday or texted in, and they said within 3 months the Hangout will rival the morning show for views. And I replied and I said, I hope so.
Well, finally we have.
Because that would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be nice to kind of.
Yeah, if it's we elevate the Hangout to rival you guys and not
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah,
come down to us. That one would be just like,
Yeah.
oh boy, we really screwed this one
You
up.
want us to do that? No problem.
You want to start hanging out at 6 every
Yeah.
morning. 6 to 9 every morning.
Yeah.
This is look. We are the creators of this show
Yeah.
by doing this just over on the outside of this room. And we came up with
Yeah,
this
we're sitting
idea
right
of
around the
doing this
corner.
very
Damn.
thing,
Yeah.
basically. And we were all really excited about this show. I was like, this is, I think, going to be really good. But I also didn't know what others would think about this. And when it launched, and right away to have a reaction from people going like they really enjoy this show, they really enjoy this format, that made me feel really good that this is something that, yeah, this is going to become a staple of Edmonton sports talk and something that we can really like. What it is now is awesome.
That's good.
It's where could we take it now from here? But through the first part of it, I'm really excited with it.
Except,
Very
of
happy
course,
with it.
for today, which could be a new feature moving forward, where is everyone Wednesdays?
You wouldn't want this to happen. Maybe one Wednesday a month, eh? Like not a weekly thing, but maybe a monthly.
We said it when we were sitting around talking about it, and as I've talked with clients about it, and other people in the media and everybody. Who do we got? Tomorrow's Murray and Gager.
I think
Friday. Yeah, did Tommy book them?
it's not.
No more.
But now
booking,
I'm confused by everything and just questioning everything.
And then Friday is Bryn,
Griffiths,
which is awesome.
and Jerry from Spirit
and Araxi from that's going to be
which is
great
going to
conversation.
I can't wait.
Talk a little bit of
Yeah.
Pre-gaming starts in the
It's
hangout.
at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm
Right.
glad you're with me there.
Here a little earlier, and
One of the things we talked about when we decided to do this around the corner over there, and it's not even like just to bring people into the loop on how this all came together. We always had the Nielsen show, we had the Lock Shop, Two Guys, Oil Stream. We were working on some other shows that we were hoping we were going to be able to get in place kind of between our show in the morning and then Lock Shop at 11. And, eventually, hopefully, maybe we can still work something like that out, maybe in the afternoons or something. But we were sitting around, and it was kind of like 2 weeks before we launched. And we're like, okay, so we're not going to get the shows that we were hoping for. What do we do? And we were sitting there, came up with this idea and this concept. And at the time, I think one of us said, I'm not sure this has been done every day in the Edmonton market. Oh, I think somebody's here.
somebody's coming. YouTube
Who could
Trev's
it
my
be?
guess.
Oh,
YouTube
yeah.
Trev.
Get him in.
YouTube Trev.
Oh,
No, buddy, that's not you.
Yeah.
You're in the big chair
Right
today.
in.
Settle in, and then eventually you
We,
can take a spot because
we need you to do
people
Tommy's
aren't here
job
today.
today, which is sit here, book guests who don't show up, and read texts.
He's already a little late, so he's sitting that one on his
Yeah.
armpit.
continue.
But no, basically, I think I've been here for 15 years. You've been here, Maddie, 15 years, basically, in the market. Rick, over 10, 12 years, 12, 13 years. I like the random guy who just sat down. Like, nobody knows who he is.
I love it.
This is great.
What an appearance.
Let's go. Lots of great sports shows along the way. Over at Chad, John Short, who's like a legend. Gave a lot of us our starts as well. Obviously, with Bryn and what they started at 1260 back in the day. The closest thing, and there've been like hours. We had the round table, but there's never really been a program in Edmonton where it's just for sports fans, which is what we all are, one way or the other, sitting around every day for 2 hours talking about sports and other things going on in the city, other things going on in the world, other things going on in the world of sports. So, I think mostly because the group of people that we've got lined up to join us and have already joined us and will be joining us again, and some new faces.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are kind of we know them very well. We know that they're good broadcasters.
A little more flexibility now to kind of,
yeah.
Before we had a little more requirements. I guess you had to stay within some lines, not jump over company lines and go. But now, I mean, we can talk to whomever we want, bring in whoever we want, whoever wants to come in here and
As long as they don't say no to us because of their bosses.
and that's just it. So now it's not like you kind of open it up.
More people invited than have come on so far.
Exactly.
But, understandable. Some guys work at. I don't know if we view them I don't think we view them as competitors. We'd like to promote their stuff. So if anybody's listening at these places that haven't allowed their people to come join us yet, we'll promote your stuff, which would be fine, I think.
And I will give credit to Jason Strudwick because I know he said it to you on Got Your Back that dinner television. He did the round table or weekly discussion. It was weekly though. It was weekly, not
and
daily.
our round table was weekly.
Yes,
right. Like
it hasn't been done the daily. I do want to get in the nasty chat before we can
see comments on this YouTube chat.
This guy. I think. Yeah, there you go.
There it is. That's why he's tech guy. Yeah.
We'll introduce who this guy is.
You sit there
for this We'll explain this. A couple of texts coming in. People asking, where is Gazzola? We're not in hell. That's spelled Calgary. I like that.
That's good. I like that too.
Somebody saying the road trip. You could take the show on the road with the same format. That is something we have discussed before. If this is truly random, this is amazing. No, this is all like random. None of this has been planned.
No.
Yeah, we finished our show and we're like, well, we're gonna have to go on the hangout.
So Shawn has texted me, Shawn Belle, who's supposed to be part of the show.
Me an awesome update.
He says, I said, are you still in for the hangout today? Yep. I told Tom I was gonna be late. Thanks for the message, Tom.
Sounds about right.
Tom, thanks for letting us know Belle's going to be late.
I was going to say, Belle's would probably be late because he was late last time, too, because he's busy coaching us.
Things do. Well, now we need that communication. And Tom,
I'm not going to just assume he's not going to be here.
Tom
and then, like,
ball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like this was all.
Tom's going to send us the message late.
Tommy's gonna come in and do oil stream at noon and go, hey guys, Belle's gonna be late.
Oh,
Like, dude, man, fires the text. So I love this. Some of the comments here. Hey, Wayne, on the YouTube chat says, did that guy just come in from Oxford Street to sit down?
hang on first.
If you don't see anybody in the fourth chair,
Yeah.
you can't hear his fat chair.
Downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, is that the black sedan driver?
No.
This is try to guess who this guy is. This guy on a coffee break from his construction job. Man, that would have been hilarious though. With some ranch.
Just went on the street and started yelling. We need people to fill chairs.
God, that would be anyway. This is we're calling him YouTube Trev,
Yeah, let's go.
and we
So one thing, it's right
right
into
into the
mind.
mind. Just eat this
Eat
thing.
it.
So we started it with me, Tommy, Eric, and Matt, and we used the four of us worked pretty hard to get everything set up. We got to the point where we needed more help around here, and we also needed some expertise on things younger people enjoy, like YouTube and TikTok and social media and stuff. And that's where we found YouTube Trev. So you're going to see YouTube Trev around.
Yeah.
And you're pretty excited about this, right?
Yeah, man. It's honestly so much fun. It's getting to know you guys. Like it's been pretty cool. I've been watching the oil stream for like quite a few years now, listening to both you and Tom. And it's crazy. Like it honestly, it's still kind of surreal that I'm like with you guys right now. Like this is pretty cool for sure. For
Right.
sure.
The street. That's great.
Yeah, man, right off the street. And so, yeah, it's kind of crazy how it's all worked. You know, I started my channel like maybe 2 years ago,
About your channel.
And,
What's your channel?
above average
Okay.
on YouTube. So yeah, definitely go give that a look. But yeah, it's been sweet. And I think it was back in January when we first met. And you know, and then here we are. So it's kind of crazy how it's all worked out. But I'm just through the roof excited to be showing these vets a few things. It's gonna be sweet.
Savage the plumber says he needs a hat. He got a hat yesterday. He got a hat yesterday.
Oh,
12 hats to allocate.
Ah.
You got one on like your third official day of work,
I know.
and it's not even here today.
You wear it Friday. You're coming out Friday.
Yeah,
football game. You'll wear it
yeah, for
Friday.
sure,
Yeah,
for
Bring it
that'll
up
be
there.
good then. Yeah.
Joe also says Sam Gagne fills in on the fourth chair on the Hangout. That's part of his.
That's what he does now because he's not going to be able to
That
play in
once a week.
in preseason.
It's
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah.
Too much of
Is
an
that
ask
is that
item.
nasty chat or is that the text line?
That's nasty.
Just to check the text
Text
line.
line.
Let me see,
I'll have to go
I
through
got
that as well. Tommy usually does this.
I
but, like,
know that's the thing. That's Tommy's big thing, right? The
he sounds like
line.
any guy from the movie Road Trip.
DJ Qualls. I think I just pulled that out. I'm pretty sure that guy's name was DJ
Road
Quall.
Trip.
Okay,
That's
this also comes in from Tube Socks. You, Trev, put out a great video on Instagram.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
boy.
awesome.
Yeah, on
But
Facebook
then-
too.
Oh,
I think I
yeah,
see
Tube
it, yeah.
Socks is the one who canceled Lock Shop in the promo because it didn't have the local lock shop. So this guy,
Yeah,
instantly, you killed the show.
yeah. My bad.
No, you know what? No, the bad thing is I watched it last night on Facebook. I didn't even know it was
I
done
didn't either.
because I was at the golf term yesterday. So it looks good. It's sharp. I didn't even notice the
Me
lock
neither.
shop wasn't in there.
I didn't. I looked at it. I was like, "This is awesome. This is
Yeah.
great." Tube Socks. I love how he's like having you kill the show.
Yeah.
You've come in and you've just
Yeah.
decided. to kill the show.
Congratulations.
That's
I have to
fantastic.
text Huss now and say, hey, man, no lock shop today. YouTube Trev eliminated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Subs is constantly monitoring.
Want it?
Yeah,
Night
this
and day.
is
He's
a
always
good
out there.
text.
Night and day.
Great new segment for the show. Mystery street guest. All right, that's not a
Mystery,
bad
yeah.
that's not a bad idea either. So, yes, if you want to have some fun with where did this guy come from?
Definitely.
Who does he look like? What does he look like? Let us know at 780-218-9999.
That's fun.
I haven't done this yet. I'll save it for a little bit later.
What are we going to talk about right now then?
Well, I was gonna get into like maybe some Willer talk or something.
Oh,
you
we
know,
can get
like
into that in a
story.
sec. Let's ask Trev
Okay.
about the potential of what we're doing because you've done really well with your YouTube channel already. You've got a lot of great ideas since you came here. We are. How would you get like on a scale of 1 to 10? Let's view Trev as like if your nickname is going to be YouTube Trev, he's a 10 on the YouTube scale. Where do you guys see yourself right now on a YouTube scale from what we've learned already? Where it's going? Like I feel like I'm like a 6-ish. I know like the basic functions. Obviously, we can generate the content. So like a lot of the ins and the outs and the algorithm and all that stuff, I had no clue on. So I think I'd probably be like a 5 or a 6. Where are you guys at?
Probably like a big 2.
Yeah. lots of room for improvement.
I know how to get
That's
to the
awesome.
website. I can type it in. I get there. I log in. I can watch videos. I can do the search function quite well.
Nice.
I would say like a 4. I don't know. Like it's one of those. I don't know. Like there's probably a lot I don't know. I know how to upload YouTube videos. I know how to go live on YouTube videos. I know how to cut up like the YouTube video and trim it down. There's things I know, but I also think that there's so much I don't know.
Yeah,
For sure.
And that's why I'm going to lower myself to like a 4.
Oh wow.
Fair.
Well, I feel like I'm
that's
a
good.
real.
You start low and then you
That's
room
because
to
I
improve.
feel like
Yeah,
I'm going to be like, oh, I'm a 7.
No,
And all of a sudden this guy's going to show me a bunch of things. And I'm going to realize I'm the biggest
He's a
idiot
20.
around. And like, I should have been like a -5.
But you think there's a lot of stuff we can do with this,
Oh,
right?
for
Like,
sure. It's funny. Dusty says I'm a 10. I'm probably like a 9.5, but
room for improvement. Yeah.
yeah, I'll take the 10 for sure. But man, it's like for everyone watching, like we're gonna do some really, really cool things with just all of our socials. We have like so many crazy ideas. The thing that I'm just most pumped about is you guys are obviously very experienced and like you know what you're talking about. You know the ins and outs, like no one in Edmonton, right? So it's gonna be super sweet. You know, we're gonna be breaking the news, and everyone else is going to be talking about the news that we broke. So
You've bumped me up to a 6.
yeah, so,
Keep going.
yeah, yeah, man. From like behind the scenes stuff to just like the stuff you don't see. It's going to be really really cool. So we got some great videos coming along, and it's all going to start for sure next week once I get my camera. And yeah,
Well, and you're not just saying this. I got the chance. I've been hanging out with you the past couple of days. I can
man.
feel. I can hear the gears in your head turning at you. Yeah, like it's just like So you've got something cooking in there. Eh?
Yeah, man. Like that's part of the reason why I moved here from Pincher Creek. Shout out Pincher Creek.
Darcy Wakaluk.
Darcy Wakaluk. No one in Pincher knows that he made it to the NHL. That's crazy.
But wait, do they know Darcy Wakaluk but don't know that he made it to the NHL?
Maybe.
But Darcy Wakaluk has like a meat floor?
Yeah.
What has he been up to for the last few years?
Yeah, my grandpa, he was like the rink manager, and he never mentioned him.
Not a sniff.
Ever.
Really?
Not
I
once.
love it.
Yeah, so I have no idea when he was telling me that. I'm like, oh, well, I guess he
No, you didn't even know.
Yeah,
Nobody
not a
knew.
clue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You know that Darcy
I had his
I meant to ask. Oh yeah, that's
You had his car.
You just have a car growing up. You
What
see him.
team was he on? We had his
Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah.
See, this is why we want to do that beers and breaks show too.
It's these
where we
stories.
just crush a couple beers and crack some cards.
Yeah.
And then we talk about Darcy
Yeah,
Wakaluk.
yeah.
We could do it right here, actually.
for sure.
I would love to
Keep
do
probably
that.
coming. He's got nothing better to do.
I would
eh?
love to do it with CFL.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's
that one would
the,
be Lucas
If you're
is coming
tiering
in for
leagues,
that one.
that's the one I want. Yeah,
One
I want a
JMO's
piece
gotta
of
be
that.
in
That would be a good one.
Piece of that.
Like
Yeah.
getting JMO to tell a story about something connected to each player that we pull.
That would be
I
pretty
will
cool.
buy
actually.
into that.
Yeah.
I will pay money to get into that.
That would be pretty good. But yeah, so you were from Pincher,
Yeah.
fellow
And,
Lethbridge College grad.
yeah,
right here.
pretty sweet. We went to the
LCC
same
represent.
college. Yeah.
Mind you, it was a community college when I went there. It was probably just
What does
regular
it go?
college. that you went, right?
Bulls or is
Oh, yeah.
Kodiak.
Kodiak.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. No, Lethbridge Bulls is the
We're
baseball
Nate.
team.
That's
Did
what
they
it's
choose
called.
it? It's
Yeah,
for
that's a good one.
work
That's a
fit
good
too,
one.
or
No.
Yeah.
Spitz Stadium.
Yeah,
Spitz Stadium.
Yeah.
I used to work there. I worked at a little office off to the side of Spitz. And there's a lot of sketchy stuff that
You
goes
did
down.
everything there, didn't
Like
you?
in that league, man. Oh yeah, I did everything. I worked there. I was up here doing Any Sport Anytime with John Short. Shout out to the legend. And then when the AJHL and ACAC seasons would end, I'd move back to Lethbridge because that's where my buddies were. I'd work part-time at the I created like a Sunday morning sports show on the university station. I went in and I was like, I want to do a Sunday morning sports show. And it would be, they're like, okay, can you do 8:00 on Sunday mornings? And I was just like, okay.
You asked yourself
Yeah.
that.
So So they asked me to do this show at 8:00 on Sunday mornings. We called it Riding the Pine. I remember it was, but I would, and this was when I was like 23, 24, working for a baseball team. So we'd work the game, we'd party with the team. I would roll into this show on Sunday mornings, so hungover. All I would have, and this was like free, like internet on your phone. This would have been like 2004-ish. I would pick up the Lethbridge Herald newspaper on the way in here, and I would literally sit down, open the sports section, and read the sports section on the University of Lethbridge radio station. And then I was working with the baseball team at the same time. And that baseball team, it's like probably some of these other teams. Like, what's the Prospects?
Yeah.
Like a hiatus right now, right?
Sure.
Yeah, because they're trying to build a place on
Yeah, so but
Western Major.
that was
whatever,
that
yeah.
league.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
was the
Yeah,
league I worked in.
yeah.
And you did everything. I did sales. I set it up on that radio station too, so I could do baseball play-by-play for just Saturday night.
You were the third base coach up in the booth. You're doing
Saturday
signs
night
down to the field.
Why would I do Saturday night?
Like, isn't that a lot for then like leading up to the party, or
Oh,
does
yeah.
it matter? Yeah.
But it's the only time they wanted to do it.
Okay.
So we did it on Saturday nights, but I would call the inning and then we'd go to commercials. I would take the in-house host mic. I would run down,
No.
giveaway with somebody in the crowd. Congratulations, you won a Leopard Bulls t-shirt. Run back up and be like, bottom of the third.
Running to the
Like,
mic. Running to the mic.
I mean, you do everything, but you learn that stuff, right? Like that's why I think it's good for you to join us here because we're all basically doing everything around here.
Yeah,
so you'll be able to learn a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna
It'll be
learn
pretty
all.
good. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it should be pretty good.
You know where the
Yeah.
beer fridge is.
Yes,
This is
that
number
was
one
the-
learning.
that
Yeah,
was the
that's
first
the
thing I
first
found.
thing you learn.
It was the most important
Very
purchase
important,
that we
very
had as we're
important.
building the place.
Yeah.
Was that technically the first thing we pulled in here? It was close.
Yeah, I got it at Walmart. Hell of a deal. Hell of a deal.
How much did you pay
I
for that?
don't think we actually purchased anything else.
$100.
That's it. Not the whisper.
Nice.
I just didn't want to. It's a good deal. I didn't want to. They only had like one pallet left. Amazing deal. Got one for my house as well.
Still ain't
Runs well though. Hey, like it's a good brand of fridge.
Seems
Looks good.
keeps the beer cold.
Solid.
Very
That's what it
Yeah,
needs to do.
yeah.
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 It's got a little
So-
freezer component. There's a drawer.
Yeah,
there.
I don't like the
You
freezer
can keep
component.
your
That
crisp
worries me.
vegetable in.
Tell me, it's gonna over.
You have
Like,
to drain.
we're not
you have
gonna
to
clean it.
yeah.
Well, but who's gonna do that? I know we'll have to be careful because I
Restaurants.
know at the radio station, JMO and I always had to do it,
Yeah,
and
people
like
leave.
everyone, and it was the worst.
People leave crap in
And
there,
then
and
it was actually Connor left an ice cream cake in there, and this was a little fridge that was in Dave's and I's office, and he left an ice cream cake in like the freezer area, but it wasn't good enough for an ice cream cake, and over the weekend it just melted everywhere, and so then I tried cleaning the fridge and getting it clean, and then it just crapped out at that point.
I'm glad it's just
Do
a
not put an
tight
ice
group
cream
here.
cake.
Well, we won't because we'll
big
police
though.
ourselves.
We can
Yeah, but
always
that's
deal with that.
Well,
Well,
we aren't going to be doing those things. Like I think
if there's
we've-
one person, it's gonna be this guy.
I haven't been paying attention.
No,
Or- or the one
Because
that's not
Tommy-
here
Tommy
early.
gets mad at his bottles being left everywhere.
My bottles?
Yeah.
Already? You mad about this?
Why is he's just like yesterday, like a couple days ago, he found like just like 2 bottles Dusty
Yeah.
left right here. I see you were here for that
I was
one.
there.
Were you there?
It was a big no.
It's important. It's like, okay, look, the 2 bottles Dusty left. He's big on you leaving stuff
Well,
behind.
Well, I mean, show up on time and we'll talk.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the moment Tommy Gazzola walks in this office or books guests who show up,
It's a snowpit. They're gonna be late.
the moment he walks in this office at 7:59, I'll stop leaving water bottles around. It's just, is this my water bottle?
I think
I think
so.
it is actually.
That's
Yeah, I
what
think
you
I
keep
yeah,
losing,
sorry.
we
losing
don't
water
know.
bottles.
Yeah,
And you keep
I
taking
was-
one and you keep forgetting it.
I was
I like the
I was
mark on it.
thirsty.
but meeting at 2, right? Like he's on the clock.
1:15.
1:15.
I gotta go.
So he's on the clock.
We have a
Like,
meeting at
we
1:15.
meet
But to be
1:15.
honest with you, we're all here except Tommy. So we could just do
Well,
our
the meeting's
business-
right now.
We can just do our
Yeah, we
business
can
meeting
do
right
it
now.
Email.
Part of the meeting.
Yeah, here's planning for the
Let's do
next
that.
2 months for Edmonton
Inside look.
Sports Talk. So
This is the EST Hangout, by the way. I need to do a better job of updating this for our video people, or audio people, not video people.
what did it
Yeah,
say?
that's
The
right
Nielsen
too.
system
Yeah.
on it?
Actually, I don't know that, but Matt Iwanek, Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric, and YouTube Trev, as we are now deeming him,
Let's go.
waiting for our guests to show up, which includes Shawn, Belle, and Tyrel Spitzer from Silent Ice.
Will they both still come?
Well, I don't know.
How late did Belle say you would?
I don't know if Spitz is coming or not, but like Belle, like I
What
would
is-
assume
I
Belle.
think Spitz is somebody Tommy just made up.
He's
I don't know.
imaginary
I
character.
don't know. Like we can't trust Tommy that much anymore. I
Clearly.
think when he's especially not going to be here. But no, now I got to check to see if it's updated on our. See, now you sidetracked me enough.
Well,
What it says on the live stream. This is EST Hangout.
Yeah, yesterday I think because I hopped in, it was like the Nielsen show, and then I refreshed it, and it came up as the Hangout.
sometimes a good
Like, just
refresh.
with the word, like, but
Well,
yeah.
it's supposed to automatically do it, and I know with our system sometimes it doesn't.
Never hurts to refresh.
Well, actually, speaking of the audio stream, I have not told you guys this.
What?
Yesterday we surpassed 100,000 starts, stream starts.
That's huge.
So thank you
That's
to
Hey,
everyone
hey,
online.
give me 5. Give me 5.
Anyone over the last month that
Get the
has
show
gone
on.
on EdmontonSportsTalk.com and started our stream, we surpassed 100,000 in 2 weeks.
That's huge.
Yeah, which is pretty encouraging because it's like more than double what we were talking about to sponsors. I wanted to sell and I did tell them, I said it might be conservative, like some of the numbers, because we had a lot of sponsors sign on before we even launched this thing. They like the idea, they're
Love for
familiar
the
with what we
nasty, yeah.
had back at 1260. But yeah, we've now more than doubled our projected numbers for the first month, and we still have half a month to go. So that's awesome. So we're
So sweet.
We're over
This is-
100,000.
This is the Facebook movie with the big ticker there, and then Eduardo had to come back from New York when they hit a million and stuff, and
Yeah, exactly.
Justin Timberlake with the chicken and all that stuff. That's
Tell
what
me
it
about the
is.
chicken.
Yeah. Who told you about the chicken? What's the chicken? But you know that movie? You're putting it next day.
I love
I love that movie. Did you?
so surprised. Like, honestly, I'll say this. I did not think you would have seen that movie.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you've never seen like Godfather. So I felt like that's not a movie for
Comparing
you.
The Social Network to Godfather.
Well, it's a step down from The Godfather. I get that. But, like, it's a great movie. I don't know. It didn't seem like a you movie. I don't know why. You're into
It's
like
one
the-
of my favorites.
I didn't know that.
Why?
I
Okay,
didn't
well,
know that.
why would you not think it? And why is
Because,
it one of your
it's
favorites? Like I have two
Goonies, like he's into that. Like
Yeah.
it's like I know he's into like the
The-
comic universe, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I don't know. I didn't seem to think that.
Oh,
he
So
would
why
be
would
like
it be one of your
this right now.
favorites? Like, is
So
there anything
fun.
that why is it you?
You like the
you're a
fantastic
sick
movie.
boy. He loves
The
the
music is great. I think that's Trent Reznor. I think he's the music.
Yeah,
guy.
that will if he's
For
doing the
He's done a
score.
few of those.
You like it from
And
Trent
he's-
Reznor?
I think Reznor
No.
does that one. I got to
No.
double check that.
I like it. I like it. I like
It's the campus vibe.
I like Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
He's great. Mind you, he's really good in that. I'm so on some of his other stuff.
So just that character.
Yeah.
is
But I
Adventureland, he's excellent in
haven't seen Adventureland. Is that with Woody Harrelson?
No,
Oh,
no, that's
Zombieland.
that's Zombieland. Those are good too.
Why-
Yeah.
No, Adventureland is Kirsten Stewart, Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
I
This
like
is like 09 or something.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, Trent Reznor.
yeah, I really like that movie, and I think it's I like seeing how things are built.
Yeah,
Right. I even like. Do you guys watch Blackberry?
I didn't see that one yet.
I haven't
watched
watched
it on
that
the
one
plane.
yet.
People talk about that.
Blackberry is excellent, and it's got Jim Ball Silly is the guy from what's the show you wanted me to watch all the time?
Dragon's Den.
No, Philadelphia.
No.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Danny DeVito?
Not Dan DeVito. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of a bold
It's not that short. Though.
Not Charlie Day. Not the other Wrexham guy.
Oh,
Dennis. He's Dennis. Dennis plays Ball Silly.
bald in that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one. Is it a one part or is it
And
like
the
a
guy who
series?
plays Gary Bettman's like this fat little dude.
Is it a series? Is it like a multiple episode or is it one? It's a movie. Okay.
It's a movie. Yeah,
Perfect.
Blackbird. Great
Oh,
movie, man.
jeez. I can.
Absolutely great movie. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. I think I have Social Network on my Apple TV app, and I watch it like when I go to lay down
It's
and
a
have naps.
go-to for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I probably watch Social Network. I don't want to like brag, but like 7 times a year.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Dude.
I don't
bragging.
I'm so with you. It's
Yeah.
like such a motivating movie. Like it kind of like just pushes me to like more.
Is that right?
It's like, oh, we can if he can do it, why can I? You know?
This is what we got you,
Campus
Trev, you
life.
know?
He also screwed over all of his friends and
Yeah,
everything.
you know, you just Trent
Yeah.
Reznor.
Well, no, he got
Little-
taken by Sean Parker, who's a scam artist.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg needed to have more balls, I think,
Yeah.
along the way. He kind of just sat there, nerded out, coded stuff,
Mhm.
For sure.
allowed Parker to dictate some stuff, and then allowed lawyers who had all these angel investments. And hey, if you want to drop an angel investment locally, reach out. But like, you can't sit here and I don't know. I don't think I put lots of that on Zuckerberg.
So it's somebody doing all the stuff, the IT stuff behind the scenes, and the other guy
I think
who
it
is.
was yet, though.
Do you see where this is going? Did you see? Wait, let's. I don't want to bring it up, but I mean, you just get a lawyer up today, man.
The Sheriff Montenegro says Marty is calling you immature, Dusty.
Hey, what? Who?
Without saying the word.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been a
Marty.
year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people do call me Marty.
Spell check.
I'm
sometimes.
good with
It's
that.
spell check.
Natty autocorrects
Yeah,
Marty.
I tried to text you
And now-
yesterday and it came up as
Marty.
Marty,
You
and I
just-
corrected it.
Yeah,
And
you
thus
just go.
Lucas has now thus called me Marty. I've been Marty now for a very long time.
That's a good name.
He's actually transitioned that into Martin.
That's great.
So sometimes I'm called Martin. But no, like Marty, it does happen. A couple texts coming in. Someone asking if they say they want to support the channel in one way or another. Have you considered Patreon or buy me a coffee for the casual listener? Charles, let me just say, stay tuned.
It's a thing.
Stay
Yes.
tuned. And then Big Fan 2019 says, how do we buy those hats? Again, also stay tuned. There's a lot that's
You'll know.
coming.
You'll know.
In the next couple of weeks, hopefully we'll be able to announce this. And I do want to throw this one out there. Somebody's saying Mitchie63, maybe YouTube Trev can figure out why autoplay doesn't work for most of us. I'm assuming this is on YouTube. You need to turn on autoplay yourself.
Yeah. Right,
User.
YouTube, Trev?
Enable it, and then you're good.
It's
Ooh,
like the bottom.
Enable.
What a word.
Enable.
Real good YouTube terminology.
Mine's at the, on my video phone right now. It's at the, when you like tap the video, it's at the top. There's like a play button around with a circle in it.
Yeah.
I'm enabled. Make sure it's to the right, not to the left, and autoplay will be on. So we send you for the autoplay and then the redirect. But you have to have that on your YouTube to have it work. Otherwise, you got to go to Edmonton Sports Talks YouTube channel and click it. That's one thing actually I haven't done.
Can I read a text from my wife?
Go
It's
for it.
about this. She texted me and said, my YouTube did just do the autoplay thing over to the Hangout. I'm not sure how so many people are having troubles with it. So obviously we were like set up on autoplay. It was already enabled.
Sure.
And then she texts once we introduced, I think she was wondering who this guy was.
It's also going like, why is there a random sitting next to my husband right now?
She goes, so then after we introduced him as YouTube Trev, she goes, oh, that's who he is. He looks so cute and happy. And then she goes, oh, he's awesome.
Oh.
So you've already won over my wife, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
With that, stay
That's
away.
nice.
The last thing we need. Listen, as you start working here, there's one rule.
Yes.
You don't sleep with other employees. Right? And that's basically the only rule. Outside of that, generate good content and things will be okay.
Yeah.
What sports are you into?
Yeah,
Have you
man,
gotten
I'm a
into-
huge, obviously hockey, like that's go-to for sure. I was talking about Eric about soccer. I played it my whole life, but I don't really follow it at all. But basketball, huge Raptors
Hey, you
guy.
told me you picked an NFL team yesterday.
And yeah. And then I'm really starting to, you guys are talking about. I never just back home had like football wasn't really a big thing. So yeah, I'm going for the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow. He's got some serious swag, and so yeah, I'm a huge Burrows fan.
You'd love that, Matty.
I don't mind
Pardon?
tennis at
What's
all.
he doing here?
Ravens fan, New Bengals fan, like understandable.
Yeah,
Great.
He's like, we're in the office first.
no, that's
I think you should be able to pick the team as you want in this office, Matt.
But now you get the rivalry. You get an instant rivalry now.
yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's a good
No, but that's it's on.
Yeah.
Like it's.
And then you said
Well,
tennis?
Yeah, man, tennis. I've been really into watching tennis a lot lately. I think it's pretty sweet. That Alcaraz guy is kind of a stud. And then I like MMA. Like I just I bartended for like the last like 4 years. So there's obviously a lot of fight nights that I was able to watch and kind of just seeing people at the bars get like really into it. And I'm just like, yeah, this is super sweet. So yeah, MMA is like I really like MMA.
Did you guys ever bartend?
No.
Me neither.
I sat at a bar on the
You're
other. Like I
lucky.
sat at a
You're
bar.
lucky,
That was the whole.
Yeah.
I did the bartending night with you that one
At
night.
Brewhouse.
Yes. And that was a great time. I had fun with that.
I think I ended up getting hammered and went to cook.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mark Majot's brother had a bar out by the airport.
Did
And
he?
him and I bartended for like an hour one night. Toughest
For
night.
charity or
Yeah,
just
this is one of those things. Making Caesars, like that was I total respect.
I didn't have to do the Caesars or anything, which was thank God. But
Oh.
My brother
I didn't mind
bartended
it.
at the local we grew up in our area. We bartended.
your brother would be a great
Well, he
bartender.
served me. I'd sit at the bar and he'd serve me.
Yeah.
It was the best. And then to get people out, he'd put on like those ambient channels with like the water dripping from the cave, and he'd be like cleaning up, and it'd be a really strange bar to go into, but he'd get people out of there real quick. That was a trip. Having your brother across from you serving you drinks as you be a barfly. That I'll never forget that. But no, I totally like making a Caesar is tough enough, but
How long were you a bartender for?
Probably like on and off for 4 years.
Really? Just at Boston Pizza or?
So at this BP's for 1 year, and then BP's back home for like
Okay.
3 years. Yeah,
In Pincher Creek?
yeah. Good old Shawn.
Wow. Okay.
it's the hardest drink to make. If
God,
we came in and you were serving and like you didn't, or like don't order this and we ordered this.
Yeah,
what
it
would
was the worst thing ever. Fishbowl Fridays, where I dreaded Fishbowl Fridays, and we're right by Nate, right? So all of a sudden, all the girls come in and they're
Sugar.
like, "Let's go!" So Bellini fishbowls, I despise. I'm so happy to not. I hope I never make another one because it's ridiculous.
Well,
So,
unfortunately for you, Fishbowl Fridays is a thing at EST.
as long as I don't have to make them, but yeah, I mean, there's so many. But we're done with that. I'm in with you guys.
Well, for now, if you keep leaving your hat at home.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
No. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever had the urge. I think I would have liked to have been not a bartender, but I think it would like my mom. Obviously, your moms think you can do anything, but my mom always thought I'd make a great server,
a waiter.
like a waiter, like to be
actually,
like
you'd
to be
be-
friendly, to have conversations with people, get hand-eye coordination,
Yeah.
for like the dropping and holding and stuff.
Like top end, like you're lighting things on fire at the table, making the Caesar salad as you.
I mean, like, am I at the keg or am I somewhere else?
Yeah, like
pull off a shift at the keg
I'd love to see
Fine
it
dining.
for charity.
Yeah, I could see
For
that.
charity.
So.
for charity.
One night.
Go buy
Everything for charity.
I would go
Well,
surf for a night.
I'd go dine in. Table for two, Manny. Let's see. Let's go.
Put it on the company card.
We don't have to have the cards. Oh, great.
Yeah.
The tips will be outstanding. You'll make hand over fist on tips.
I think that would be kind of fun. I'd like to try that one time.
I want to see the penny and then
It's fun
Yeah.
for about the first week, and then you're over it.
we. You'd clear tips in a night for you.
Oh, I'd love to.
I would drop food, I'm guaranteed.
Really?
Actually, what's the story you had at Browns?
buddy. How are you?
Browns.
What is
Oh,
it?
that was bad.
Yeah.
That was really bad. Who do you want to tag out here? It's like honestly, I love it. Yeah. Oh, the bullets are
Spitzer
Okay, well, we got
All right, we got
Yeah,
three
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
This is
Listen,
I said Tommy told us you guys were
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
that was the Lieutenant and YouTube Trev. They are leaving an EST Hangout. There's a lot of noise happening.
Is in.
Other guys are coming in. There are
Just
guests
slide
for
right in.
today that Tom Gazzola booked, and Tom didn't tell us that they were going to be a little late because why would Tom? While they're telling the people that are hosting the show that our guests are going to be late. So
Classic Tommy.
His exact words were like, "Well, that's great. I'm going to be at the Oilers," and
Yeah.
Shawn Belle, you can hear him. Hello Hockey. Saturdays right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, 10 o'clock, and we have yet to meet. I'm Adam Wanner.
Tyrel Spitzer.
Tyrel Spitzer, Silent Ice, and Entertainment Vice President. One tip, you guys speak right into the
Well, that mic
start with this.
there you go.
The messages are going to come in and be like, hey, you guys aren't speaking. You're too quiet. How are you guys today? You guys were you on the ice today? Or
yeah, just finished practice. It was
Yeah.
good practice, and then I got on the Henday, and I was trying to fly here, trying to
Good luck
get,
with that.
15, 20 minutes. Doesn't work. No,
No.
it's always that one person that's in the left lane going like 10 to 15 under. That just gets me. It
Which way
gets
were you
me.
coming on the Henday? Where were you coming
I
from?
was going. I was coming from Nisku.
Oh, okay. So you're down at the rink,
going
and
on
then
the west leg.
Southwest is a
Yeah.
mess, man.
Yeah, Southwest is a nightmare.
Every time I go to the airport, I'm usually like in a mad scramble every weekend to get down there, and I have to check how the Southwest leg of the Henday's doing because I usually try to cut it relatively close at the airport nowadays.
Sure.
And if I get stuck there, I'm totally screwed. Sometimes I'll go all the way out through Devon because I live down Southwest, right? So I'll sometimes go all the way through Devon to get to the airport.
Just cutting all the back roads.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's a smart
Absolutely.
decision though, because like
Yeah.
that Southwest corner is it's a gong show,
Yeah.
and so there's no chance for you to actually be able to like let's stretch my legs out a little bit in the car, like let's go. But no, it's like 60 and then 80 and 100 back to 80. Meanwhile, you got guys that are going way too slow in the left lane.
that's the biggest one of my biggest pet peeves. Like straight up, like you're only in the left lane to pass. When you're done passing, get over to the right lane and stay in that right lane until you're either leaving or you're ready to pass someone else. Get back in the left lane, pass, and then back to the right.
I agree.
I'm actually learning a lot about you, Belzy. Like being in the left lane, because it's construction.
It's probably you. That's the guy that's
riding the left lane. It's the guy. I know.
You're the guy.
I'm the guy working the zipper.
Oh,
so I'm
man,
You're wrong with it. Like you're the one that goes up to the front of the zipper and then comes in.
That's right.
And
And
you know how to
rinse,
do it.
repeat,
Yeah,
rinse, repeat.
that's
You might
what
have to
I'm
three
doing.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
problem is that there's a 10 and
I'm
2 that's
passing
doing
you
this
in the
one.
left lane.
Yeah, that's you're passing me.
Well,
Vehicle of yours ain't going over 80. There's no chance.
How do you drive?
yeah, but you're
You might as well get a glorified minivan.
it's called the CUV. I'm a family man. No, yeah. You got to kick out to the right, and then you got to
Yeah.
zipper in. You got to do that three or four times. I can't remember what it is, but I'm usually waving at you as I'm.
Yeah, well,
You're sitting
You
there,
only- you only-
frustrated there by left lane. Spitz is rolling right by you on the
Yeah.
right side.
I can't believe we're doing that.
You only need to go 80 because everyone's kind of stop and go in the left and
That is
left
true.
lane.
You know what I do think is greasy in that, like down Southwest when you go across the bridge, right? You can go up and then come across and then
you
come
just
back down.
broke it.
Yeah.
No,
Is that what you do?
that's a secret.
That
I
is a-
didn't
this is a
secret. And the
secret, yeah.
odd time, like I don't know why, but I look at it and I go, oh, should I do that? Should I do that? I just don't know if I can do that. So then I try to weasel my way through the other way, but I see everybody else at the same time. I'm like, you don't think I'm pissed at them? I'm pissed at myself for not doing this.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I was hoping we would keep that quiet.
Yeah.
We'll put this
offline,
out on the
but-
audio
yeah.
after.
Yeah. On the podcast, it'll be
I'd be a huge line down the overpass coming right back down.
Yeah, that's totally screw up the Southwest leg of the head.
Yeah.
Even worse today.
And I'm lucky I never have to drive that area.
You're downtown guy,
I'm
right?
downtown,
So-
but it was also like I'm from North Edmonton, so it was always driving north side and stuff. So it was always Only have to worry about that from when we was at the old place
Yeah.
going south.
Do you guys have to go through there every day? Like, where do you guys live compared to? Because you're doing a ton of stuff down.
I'm in
Whiskey,
I'm in the
So-
Southwest, so I never really have
So
to
you
use
don't
that
have to.
Southwest
Okay, well,
portion.
that's not
but
bad. Where about
whenever I
you,
do,
Spitz?
South Central. Yeah, I'm using it every day.
You are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I
It
get see all
sucks.
those trips. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Were you on the ice today too?
Nope.
No. Is this guy?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just me.
He's down at the NISCU at the new rink.
Yeah. So
I was passing my neighbor last night or 2 nights ago. Was it last night? Anyway, one of these last 2 nights, and he was going down to. He had a rec league game there coming up. Yeah, like has that started yet? The rec league
Yeah, the
stuff. Okay.
CCRHL is playing over there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're doing some games down
Yeah.
there too. Then
Yeah, they are.
are
Yeah.
you going to plug the Bald Eagles or?
Oh yeah.
is that your team?
Yeah, we got a team in there. So
Yeah.
CCR.
What div?
Div 2. But
Okay.
there's a bit of a story
Oh.
there. So one of the guys in ownership, he says, "Hey, why don't we put a men's league team together?" And I thought, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. So I called Jason Patterson, who's running the CCRHL.
Okay.
Wicked guy. I love how enthusiastic he is in terms of like growing it and whatnot. And he says, "Well, what division you want to go into?" I said, "Well, I'm thinking about some of the guys on the team. Like, yeah, we'd probably Div 1." And he's like, "Well, Div 1, we play for money." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't really want to put anything on the line for our group. Like, that's not a good idea. To be fairly competitive." So
Yeah.
I said, "Let's go, your most competitive division, not for money."
Yeah.
And so Div 2. And then I started putting guys on the roster. So, coaches that coach with Bellsy and coaches that, are kind of in and around me in the Spruce Grove area and kind of our Silent Ice staff. And you start looking at some of these names and you're going, oh my gosh, this is an incredible roster for a men's league, right? And having all our games out of the new facility and whatnot, we should be getting good attendance. So yeah, pretty star-studded lineup for I think a men's league team.
Have you started playing now?
Yeah. 3 games in, right?
3-0?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3-0.
3-0.
Oh, nice start.
It's we were talking about this yesterday, and it's like Laddie Schmid wants to play. I'm on the team already. Who else is on defense? You got Borky.
Yeah.
You have Mac T's kid.
Yeah.
Sean's out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Scott Glennie, who's a former
Stevenson.
first rounder to Dallas. Grant Stevenson, who played for the Sharks. Steven Gertzen, who played for the Coyotes. Like the list just keeps going.
Good night of beer league.
It's better than the 2013 Oilers. Basically, I mean, it's pretty good list to put together.
It's awesome because it's like, okay, well, we want to go out there and have a little bit of fun and try. We're not going to go out and embarrass people, but I feel like exactly your point is that if you go to Div 1, there's so many guys going so hard, and there's there's some temperamental guys on this team. And if you're playing for money and there's something online, it's like, uh-oh.
I've always heard that Div 2 is better than Div 1 because it's just that
You don't
everything
have
that
to
you
worry
said,
about
it's
it.
like you could just take it a little easier.
Yeah.
And still have your fun and still just have a good
Yeah.
hockey game, but you're not worried about maybe some guy even trying to run you or something because they're
Yeah.
going to run a former NHLer or something like that.
That's 100% what it is.
Place to be, boys, is over 35.
Oh, really?
So I played. So I played CCRHL for a lot of time. I played 1 year Edmonton. What's it in the summer? Edmonton Men's. I think it's Edmonton Men's League. So I was buddies I was on. We played Div 2, and I went out on the ice for the one game. I think I was about 35, 36 at the time. Went out on the ice for a game. We had a couple kids. One guy was like a first year kid with the Hitman. A couple guys from the AJ on our team. But we went out and the other team was basically the University of Alberta Golden Bears.
Oh.
And I called their games for a long time. I'm like, I'm not chasing these guys around for an entire summer. I'm past that point. So then, with kids, kind of dialed it back a little bit. When I started going on TV, I threw on a cage, which totally took away my anger and being a prick. So I kind of dialed it back. So then my one buddy's like, hey, there's this Southwest Zone League where it's 8 teams, 35 plus. Before I could even sign up, the guy who runs the league calls and goes, hey, just so you know, we're pretty chill. There's not a lot of extracurricular stuff. Are you okay dialing it back now? And I was like, perfect. I said, I don't want to have to deal with any of this stuff anymore.
You got a reputation.
It's awesome, actually. It's pretty. I mean, it's still pretty good. It's pretty good hockey. But there's only one ref. They only there's no timekeeper, so the clock runs for 20, and then they put the score up at the end of the. It's like a modified sort of drop-in skate, but it's standings and
That sounds
playoffs and stuff. It's pretty chill. I did get fired up a couple times last year, and then I got back to the bench. My buddy's like, remember. What's supposed to do here?
Oh,
So no, it's good though, man. Rec league's the best. I really liked like, I don't know how you guys you're better players, so you probably really enjoy the game itself, which I still love playing, but I'm there for the beers after, man. Like
100%.
that's it. Like they've like the one time last year with the team, and I miss like because I'm gone every weekend with CFL. So I only played like 9 games last year. So I always felt like responsible. I was like, I'll bring beers, boys. Like, because the one game I went to, we had no beers. And it sucked.
Yeah.
Like it sucked. After the game, we like sat around, we're like, okay, well, see you later. Like you can't operate that way. There's no chance.
I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
You have to have beers after.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is like, Div 2, you come out. I want to do stuff that I wasn't allowed to do in the NHL, right? Like when I play for some of these coaches, Kevin Constantine, or you, Nick Lidstrom, Shawn, you got to go glass it out. You got the red, and you got to dump it in.
Yeah.
I want to dance with the puck. I want to do spinoramas. I want to try to go between people's feet.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. And if I turn it over, I'm not back checking.
Yeah.
Get me the puck again. That's
Yeah.
what I want. And then I want to have a few beers after.
And I'm sitting on the bench going, "Oh my god, it's Nick Lidstrom." Constantly, I had no idea what he was
Yeah, he
what
had
he
no idea.
Right
Like,
underneath his nose.
he should let me
Yeah, you just need to give me a little more.
Yeah, take the governor off. Let's go. I did.
And Cass is nothing but bad things since
I
I
got
got
nothing but
Constantine.
bad things to
Really? It's about Cass, you guys know Cass. Like he's like the nicest, gentle. I don't know how he made a living punching people in the face. Like he's the nicest,
It's because he's got
quietest
some
guy.
wires that don't touch.
Obviously, it's like
moment you just don't want to see the moments
And
when
he's-
he's ready.
Yeah.
he's very careful with what he says about everything. Like the Babcock situation last week, he's like, "Well, let's wait, see how it plays out." But then I'll go like, "Hey, Kevin Constantine," and he just rips him to shreds.
Yeah.
Was that bad?
It
Like,
was that bad. He doesn't understand the human side of hockey, and everything to him is a number. So then you just become a statistic. And he treats people, awfully. And so you're a grown man. You're 20 years old. You're 30 years old, 35. Some of these guys got kids, and he's like giving it to you on the bench all the time. He's pushing guys. He's just doing weird stuff. And you're like, why do I need to take this?
yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen in my life coach have more guys ready to street fight him.
seriously,
Yeah.
it was that bad.
It was that bad.
And that was pro, right? Because
That was
now it's
pro,
junior
yeah.
too, but
Yeah.
you had him in pro.
Yeah.
Man.
It was outrageous. Like guys would come back from the bar and they're like, "What? I want to fight Constantine." And you're like, "Where is he?" We all lived in the same
Yeah.
complex.
Him
And
too.
so, yeah.
Oh, what?
And so everybody kind of knew, like, and there'd be a few guys that would knock on the door and be like, "Get out here!" And like,
Yeah.
it was not a good situation. Constantine was not good.
See, from the outside, when you're like just watching him as a coach, like not knowing any of the background, you could tell he was like ultra structured. Like
Yeah.
he would have the concept shoot before you can think, like if the puck went low to high. And some things that, were just rinse and repeat, maybe took a little bit of the fluidity of the game away. So it'll be interesting to see how he does with that Wenatchee team.
Yeah.
Who's super offensive and super creative. And now you got a guy who has a
Sucked the life out of it.
foundation or background of being super rigid,
Yeah.
whether he's evolved or if it's going to be just like conflict.
If you were a goaltender, you would love playing for him because basically he's saying you got to go down at all costs. Like I remember when there's the expansion team, the Everett Silvertips came into the dub.
Yeah.
We're playing them, and it's like you get the puck on the point, you give a little fake, and there's 5 guys on the ice. And you're like,
Everybody's down.
everybody's down. Like they're all trying to block these shots, right? And I think guys like him work at that level because they're so influential. Like kids want to do whatever they possibly can to
Yeah.
get to the NHL or get to pro or just move up to a higher level. And so now you're able to get away with more, but a pro, like you can't do that.
Well, and then that's a big difference to like when you look at football between college coaches and NFL. Nick Saban did not do well at Miami
Yeah.
because he can't coach pros the same way he coaches kids at college. You could be in college and you could lay into them and you could scream at them all you want. Those kids will go, "Yes, sir, may I have another?" type thing.
Yeah.
You go to the pros where the guys have the mortgages and the families and all that, and you yell at them, they're gonna want to beat you up.
Yeah,
And
and they're
so,
making
like,
more than you.
exactly. So it's like, yeah, there is. It's weird that it's okay almost, even though that it can happen at the lower level, but
Yeah.
that's the only spot it kind of does work, and we've seen that just in all sports.
Yeah, 100%.
With the with we bring up Constantine, you mentioned where he is now, and then the Babcock thing. You guys are having one of the things you told me that you guys are doing with the JPHL and stuff, and Belle, you told me this too. Like it's not just developing players, like you're developing coaches, you're developing refs, like all that type of stuff. It always blows my mind Like the Babcock was hired in the first place. I thought, man, is there not like a younger coach who's more forward thinking who could have done this job just as good, if not better? Like, you have to coach these kids differently now, Spitz. Like, is that like because it boggles my mind? We're still sitting here talking about Constantine after everything you say and everything Cass says. Here he is. You're gonna go coach a bunch of kids. To me, if it's not already to that point, it's got to be getting close where you have to handle this generation entirely differently, right?
Oh, it's I imagine it's in every sport, every society. Like it's just a different mentality coming up. Like I want to say like I just use my experience of when I was going through hockey and just stuff you saw and stuff that was acceptable then, just even in teammates, stuff that we thought was funny, now is considered criminal, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just that, and that was kind of the culture, right or wrong. It was you're kind of going through it, and coaches were, a powerful figurehead, and that was your like role model, and everything was ruled with an iron fist, and that's how you motivated. Um, Now it's, you know, young kids today, sometimes they face adversity and the first thing they want to do is quit. So it's, well, how do we,
Yeah.
how do we, especially at like an elite level, if you're looking at the elite athlete and you're saying, okay, well, you know what this player is today, you know what it's going to take for him to maybe get there, and you can either get him to kind of buy into it and change his game now, or start working on the things that he needs to work on now to be successful long term, or you can tell him what he wants to hear and try and kind of baby glove him and see how far he gets on his own account, right? And you have parents that are they're very protective, and that, like, I hate to say it, but the parents sometimes could be the biggest issue with some of these things, right? Like they put such a protective environment that a kid can't fail, or even if a kid fails, well, it's not really his fault that he failed, or anything like that, where players grow and truly the greats. You got Tiger Woods here on the wall. Like some of these guys, they go through such adversity to get to those levels. If you can't go through some failures or some adversity, you can't get to those levels. That's just my belief on it, anyways.
I thought it was an interesting point because I was going to bring up the parent thing, and I can speak from my own experience. I'm raising my kids way differently than I was raised. Like I wonder if that whole like you said like the baby gloves. Do you think that comes a lot from the way we're raising these kids now? And like
Yeah.
I grew up playing outside in the dirt and playing hockey on gravel, and it was I grew up on a farm, so I was raised a lot different than a bunch of city kids would have been anyway. But the way that we raise our kids, like I am super protective of my kids, whereas I go away for 6 hours in a day, and my parents would be like, "Oh, hopefully he comes home at some point," and I was like, "Damn it!" So it's way. I mean, Spitz brought up the parent thing, but I think it makes a great point on how things are going, right? Like,
I completely agree.
yeah,
And part of it is the fact that there's so many different things that are accessible, right? Like we have our phones, we sit there. Kids don't want to go outside. Like before, it was almost like a rite of passage. You're going out until the sun came down, and then you're expected to be home. And more often than not, if you weren't hurt, you're like, "What happened?"
yeah. Why
Like
are
because
you
it
home
wasn't like
already?
exactly
Yeah,
like why? What are you doing? But now it's just like kids have video games that they're able to do, and there's esports, so like you're able to get more involved in that. Phones, obviously, like we mentioned, like there's just so much more out there than what we had, and that's a big part of it. And then it's just like, okay, well, as the world is turning and evolving and changing, there's outrageous stuff going on, and so I understand why parents are definitely more protective. But at the same time, like you gotta just you pay me to coach, so
yeah,
allow me to coach and allow me to do this thing. But to kind of go back to your point with the kids, like you have to be willing to build a relationship with your players. And if you don't, like they'll never allow you to motivate them, allow you to push them or do anything. So if you go in and you want to just rule with an iron fist and you don't want to talk to any of your players, well, yeah, they'll quit on you because the minute you start barking, they're like, well, who's this guy? Like he hasn't even made time to say hi to me. But if you can go in and you can talk and you can actually like get to know who these kids are, like you find out pretty quickly, like they'll tell you what you want to know. And you don't even have to go to them. They'll come to you and they'll talk and be like, hey, well, what can I do differently here? Or what can I do differently there? And that's one of the things that, hiring all these old school coaches, like they don't have that. They don't have that in their skill set to be, okay, I'm going to go create this relationship. Like we were talking the other day about
Or they have really
bad
bad ideas on how that should
Exactly.
look like. Hey, let's pop up our phones and let's look at some photos and find out who each other are.
I'm trying to get to know you. Why
Yeah.
don't you go have a barbecue with all the families?
Yeah.
Like that light bulb should go off at some point. But that's because he's an old school guy, and back in his era, he didn't have to do that. It
Yeah.
was, I'm here, I'm ruling with an iron fist.
But he simply doesn't know how it is nowadays.
Exactly.
Right? Like
Yeah.
it's completely changed, man. It's
He also
not.
just doesn't have that human tact to him to think that. Like that's
Yeah.
even like he thinks he has to change, thinks he has to get to know people, and that's in his mind the way to do it.
Yeah,
Not
let
the
me see your
barbecue or
phone.
not the like
Yeah.
just having a chat, having a beer, like having a lunch with him and just talking to him about tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
How did you get to this point? What
Yeah.
let me know.
You got a
Instead
wife,
going
you got kids. Like,
exactly
yeah.
like that's what normal humans would do. But him, he's trying to be normal. He's acting that way, and then his reaction is, well, kids like phones. I'll take your phone. Let me see your phone. It's like, well, no, that's not going to work at all.
No.
So
You know what he should have done? He should have had them come into his office and had like a PS5 set up and
Yeah.
just played games for an hour and just set up shit with them.
set up
You
a
know,
nice
like,
shell tournament.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I was having lunch with Keith Gretzky during that little tournament there. And he was saying, he was kind of talking out loud about players and they're like, oh, you know, we got to watch these guys late out night or on weekends. He's like, no, we don't. He's like, these guys don't go out and like have a good time. They sit in the room and play PS5 till 2 in the morning. We're more trying to monitor them to make sure they get off their video games so they have a good sleep than anything.
you know, they should at hotels. They should have the Wi-Fi get turned off. Like
turn it
midnight.
off.
Hey, maybe they could just set up and he'll just randomly shut down on them.
Imagine being like, imagine like them having to go to Connor McDavid and say, "Listen, you're gonna have to take the guys out for a night." Like
Yeah.
that's so different than anything. Like,
Yeah.
Here's the team card. Keep them on till 11.
well, we were talking about this like
11.
Yeah, just 11 o'clock.
Whoa.
Yeah,
11.
That's getting outrageous now.
I was down in Lethbridge for like a fantasy draft with my buddies. It's like an annual thing we always do. And we were talking like 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago, we go down, there was like 9 bars you could go to. Now there's like 1, and there's like basically nobody there. And it's just the way like people in general now, I think it's because you can meet people on your phone, so you don't have to go out. But like there's really not much social mingling anymore. Really, like
there's not.
it's like when like people who are like 28 and single.
The apps.
Like,
Yeah, what was I saying? Do they
the
go
apps.
out to a bar to try to meet people, or like
they definitely
it's like
don't.
gone, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me.
It really is. But I find the hardest part about it going out and like having a good time is like it's all the same. Like every place here in this city is the exact same.
Yeah,
Whether you go to Greta, whether you go to I don't even know the places anymore, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
it's
Pint,
they're
Greta,
they're
like,
all the
yeah.
same. Like remember, back in the day, it's like you had Rum Jungle, you had the Iron Horse, you had Malibu, you had the Armory, you had Fluid. Like the list goes on and on and on. And at least you could have like, okay, well, I'm gonna go here today,
Different
I'm
thing.
gonna go here today, different thing, and then now you're out and you're enjoying yourself a little bit more. But why would I want to go out and do the same thing every single time?
Yeah, and it's way different. The only place that's any different, still my favorite, Cook County.
Do that one.
I love Cook County.
When was the last time you were there?
There was a charity draft.
It was a long ago,
It
actually.
was which one was that? You were probably there that night, Bellsy. It was
I haven't been sick in a long
I think
time.
Alzheimer's draft was
Really?
at Cook this year. One of those two, either Alzheimer's or Hockey Helps the
You were out
Homeless,
of town, weren't you?
was at Cook.
I didn't do the Alzheimer's.
I think it was hockey.
Was
Helps
it?
the homeless. Because
Maybe.
we were
I mean,
supposed
they
to
were
do
both.
sho-
They
I
were
think
both
they were
back-to-back
supposed to do
weekends.
shows on. We were supposed to have the shows on location, and then they didn't because one guy couldn't partake.
Oh yeah.
One of the drafts at the Brew House in the West End.
Yeah, that's Hockey Helps the Homeless. So it must have been the
Okay.
Alzheimer's draft. Was at Cook this year.
How'd it look?
It was awesome.
Still the same.
Well, yeah. There's no bowl anymore.
Well, what?
Yeah, there's no bowl. They
That's-
took it out.
that's
Now, but
disappointing.
this comes back around to sucking the life out of things.
Yep.
Like that bowl, and it's probably because it was too dangerous. And it is. I'll tell a quick story about that bowl. Did you ever ride the bowl?
No, I didn't. I
Spencer, you
really
ride
went
the-
to Cook.
I may have wrote it once.
Yeah. So I wrote it once. I wasn't great at it, but my one buddy. Well, I've got 3 guys. 3 of my buddies wrote it one night. The one guy has a funny. I always tell him. I said, if you ever let me put this video online, you'll be on like Good Morning America the next day because he's a little bit of a large. He's probably listening right now. He's a little bit of a larger dude, and he does like one buck back and then comes forward, and then just slowly goes right over the top. You need to laugh, man. I could be the sweet state of my life, and I turned that on, and like, this is the man. But my one buddy, he got on, and he was all talking like, "Oh, we'll ride this bull." So we paid the guy an extra few bucks to really
Pick
get
it
up
up a
there.
notch,
So
yeah.
he goes up, like he kind of got flipped off the back of it, went up, hit the mat, bounced off the mat, flipped again down onto the floor. And he gets up, he's like, oh my God. So he goes outside, the bouncer comes outside, he's like, yeah, I have to make sure your buddy's okay. It's like a liability thing or whatever. And we're saying, yeah, don't worry, he's fine. We're not leaving. There's no way we're leaving. They were in town for one night. I was like, this is the plan tonight. So we ended up partying the rest of the night. We're walking, we stayed at a hotel because when I go to cook, my wife doesn't let me come home. She's like, you're a mess, stay at a hotel. So there's a hotel that's not far from Cook. So we're walking down to the hotel and he's like, he's limping really bad. I'm like, man, are you okay? He goes, I don't know, I'm having trouble breathing. So then he had to go home so that was Saturday night. He drove back to Lethbridge Sunday morning. Monday, he had to move his house to a different house. Like they were moving on Monday and he was lifting and hauling all the stuff. So he went through this whole thing, like finally went to the doctor like the next week, didn't even talked it out. Like he didn't want his wife to know, went to the doctor the next week. And the doctor's like, yeah, you have a cracked sternum. Oh. And he's like, how did it happen? He's like, I was riding a and got and he's like, that is the worst. So he went back and moved his entire house with this blown up sternum from the bull at Cook County, man. That was a mess. He's not allowed to come back to Edmonton. He hasn't been back since. His wife won't let him come back here anymore.
Well, you just got to find a bull closer to where he is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I see you have that video, like that video, no, it's a different one online on Tosh.0. They'd have him redemption. They'd get him on a bull to.
I have to find one of my other buddy. I'll show you guys after. Yeah.
Let's take a short break. We're over an hour now into the EST Hangouts. Spitzer, Owanek, Nielsen, Belle. You're listening on EdmontonSportsTalk.com or watching us on the Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel. I will be back in just a few minutes.
The Nielsen Show.
Enough about me, though. What's up with you guys?
Well, Frace, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Well, Eric's married now.
I know.
I have to wear a ring now.
Yeah, listen, obviously the invite got lost in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
No big deal. It happens.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
listen.
You can't trust Canada
I
Post
had
these days.
something going on.
He's fasting.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric, I can't make it to your wedding. I'm not eating right now.
The Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings at 6, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tom Gazzola and Shawn Belle take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey, Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch. Sundays at 8:30, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout, and Catherine Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
No, Mike wasn't on there just yet. I knew
This guy, the mic handle, that's great.
the video was good, but on the mics, you never know. Well, we don't have controls over
Yeah.
mics, so you gotta. I've learned from Quinn Phillips early in the EST one hangout. She just kept
When the mic was on?
coming back, and then she'd come back and
Classic
start
Quinn.
speaking. Now this is the EST hangout. Matt Awani, Dustin Nielsen, Tyrel Spitzer, and Shawn Belle. Both of you with Silent Ice. You're also with Hello Hockey, former NHLer. Sorry, just wanted to get that. Yes, now we're good.
Yeah, well, we were talking, I guess it didn't come up, but we were talking about the Spengler Cup. And yeah, it's an amazing time. I've actually, somebody messaged in yesterday to the show and said they bought tickets
Yeah,
for this year. So I'll see them this year. And
You
that'll be-
gotta buy tickets way in advance and get hotels way in advance.
the
'cause that's
hotels
like
are tough, man.
yeah.
Well,
it's
and
a
it can't be
destination.
cheap to be in
They're
Switzerland at
not,
Christmas time.
But
you
I
know?
feel like I think there's a lot of Russians with serious money that go down to Davos and they spend a lot of time, throughout Christmas and
Yeah.
they book up every single hotel. So like you got to go, probably 6-7 months in advance trying to get those hotels.
Well, and there's the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I don't know if it's still there right after, but the first couple of years I was there, like, all of the world economic leaders converged on Davos, like, at the beginning of the year.
Let's not get into the
Yeah.
WEC.
Yeah. It's nice where you're there. Is that like some of the places, like some of the stores along that main street.
Yep.
They rent out their offices to like different countries
Yeah.
and make like enough money to pay their rent the whole year
Yep.
in 1 week. Like it's absolutely insane. But the hotel situation there it's tough. I was in a room last year that was, I'm not even kidding, like with the bed and everything, the bathroom included was the size of this room. And I walked in and the shower was made for somebody my son's size. Like to get into this thing, I had to turn sideways and like suck it in. And once I got in, I couldn't even, it was awful. But I mean, you open up your window and you're looking at the mountains.
Yeah,
So
you're
you
right
kind of
there.
take what you can
And
get.
what,
but
2 games at Call Day?
2 games a day at the
Yeah.
Spengler.
So you're
yeah.
gone.
I'm not in the room
spend a
much
lot
at
of
all.
time in the
No,
room.
I'm not in the room much at all. It's like you get up, you go for breakfast. There's a good breakfast at the hotel. Come back, get ready, go, and then you're at the rink from noon to 10. Then you come back, have a quick drink, and then go back to bed. So
You played Spengler?
I was in Spengler with Mannheim. It was in the lockout.
so
So
club team.
club team.
Ah,
so we
okay.
brought in like Jason Palmville, Dennis Seidenberg. I think Nick Bonino was on our team. And then we played against Team Canada, and that
Which
we
were loaded. They
would've been
Loaded.
Ryan
stacked.
Smith was on that one.
Ryan Smith
Yeah.
was on that team, and obviously we caught him the first game, so we won 2-1. And we celebrated and we were like, "Oh, we beat Team Canada," and they just went on and trounced everybody. But it was like we got in there first, but it's an awesome tournament. Like I remember, there's times where after games where we'd go straight up to the mountain. There's hot tubs overlooking, the Alps. It's a wicked spot, and guys are just getting banged up and then coming back down the mountain, and it's like, oh, we got to go to bed because we got to go play early in the
Yeah.
morning. Like it's just
You didn't win
it's
another game,
full
did you?
bore. No, we didn't.
No.
Yeah.
This is like going up against Team Canada as a Canadian. Did it matter?
It's weird. It's weird because a lot of the guys in the other team, but at the point, as soon as you drop the puck, you're like, okay, like we got to go. But it's a bit weird because you're like, well, I'm from Canada and I'm not playing for Team Canada. Like it's an awkward situation, but like these teams just load up, and I think there's a little pretty penny for some of these guys that actually end up playing. Like Joe Thornton, Patty Kane, they're on Davos.
They were
all
on the
time.
Davos team, yeah.
Like so, these teams they'll spend money and they'll spend lots of it to load up their team. So while Team Canada is really good, you've got tons of NHLers or other guys on this team that you basically having an NHL game.
Could you ever go 100 against the flag? Like, could you ever, give that extra? Like
Well,
if it's on,
yeah,
if you're
like, I
if
think
you're
you
if
have
you're
to.
wearing it, so World Juniors,
Yeah.
you're going 110, right? You're doing
Yeah.
whatever you can to win because you feel like it's bigger than you. It's family. It's the nation. But if you're playing against that, like, could you?
There's a final.
Yeah, you have to. Like if you're a club team and you're going up against Team Canada, you're giving everything you can because it's like bragging rights. Like you should have seen how pumped these guys are, like, were that they beat Team Canada. Like, that was the standard right there. Like, we didn't have to win another game. We beat Team Canada. So you come back to Mannheim, we just beat Team Canada. And everybody
Kind of a big deal, yeah.
It's a massive deal.
Yeah,
And people are
especially
just
that
like,
tournament.
yeah,
Yeah.
giving you the rub. It's just like you feel like a conquering hero coming back.
That's awesome.
Sacrilegious that they prefer the Spengler over the World Juniors right now. Like
Right
in
now,
terms of like for actually for a while, like I've of the time of year, if I had to watch one tournament over Christmas, I'd probably take
first of all,
Spengler
Maddie,
over.
you don't need to say this just because I called.
No, I remember watching it for the first time with my dad years ago, and I just like, what is this tournament? It was great, but also part of like it's seeing going through the rosters and seeing the names that you watched like through the NHL, and you know, it's just the vibe of it is a little.
It's an awesome vibe.
I'd
It's a
say
little party
I'd say
vibe.
non-Canadian games for sure. Like from like a Canadian World Junior game is a Canadian World Junior game,
Yeah.
but like an Austria Norway World Junior game, Spengler would blow it out of the water.
100%.
But I still would
100%.
rather watch Canada Spengler than Canada World Junior game. If I
That's a
got
little
one
thing.
choice. So does that make me like is that weird?
It's a little weird.
I think I know what you're talking about though. Like the World Juniors now, like if you rewind in time, like let's just go 1995. You're watching
story.
this and it's in a smaller rink. It's like a
Yes.
Swift Current. It's packed.
Yeah,
There's standing room only, and it's
not
going-
corporate.
Exactly.
That's fair.
what-
The World
that's
Juniors
the
to me now is I
perfect way
feel
to
like it's
describe
just
that.
it's too suit and tie.
Yes.
And I don't know, the Spengler's not that. And the World Juniors, I grew up on those 95, the 90,
Yeah.
like I grew up on those World Juniors.
Christmas Day
And I
game.
missed those absolutely. And it was just like it was a tradition. It was Canada. We get around, we watch these, but it wasn't full like the money machine that it is for Hockey Canada that is right
Yeah,
now.
and you were going to some of these smaller towns, and when you go to those smaller towns, like that community rises up and they like fully embrace what's going on there, and it just turns into be an awesome time. But now it's like it's consistently here in Edmonton,
Bigger
it's in
markets.
Toronto, it's in Montreal. It's like it doesn't have that same feel. So corporate is it's the perfect way to describe that.
It's not that weird, Benny.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
good points.
One person said, Doug in the nasty chat says nothing compares to a Canadian World Juniors game during Christmas, but then the doc with you, Maddie, World Juniors are just oversaturated and too big of a spectacle. Now it is going to be a spectacle down at Rogers Place all year this year as the Edmonton Oilers getting set for their march to win the Stanley Cup as Dustin Nielsen proclaimed
I said it
today
this morning. I know,
on the
I do.
Nielsen show. It is locked in the calendar somewhere that they are going to win. Are you guys excited for the Oilers season?
I am, and for a couple reasons. Like they showed up early, right? Early
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
game.
they
Captain's
get the
camp,
whole group.
like,
Yeah.
mandatory, not mandatory,
Yeah,
captain's
yeah.
camp, you know?
Well, that just shows you that Connor's dialed in.
Yeah.
Right. He's got a plan in mind, and there's going to be a purpose this year, and he's trying to, he wants to push. You could just tell, like, bring everybody in early. Like, I don't know if that happens everywhere, but it seems like he's on he's going to try and drive this thing forward. So that's cool. And the second thing is like it'll be interesting to see just kind of the additions to the lineup, and just kind of how we're able to kind of adjust to those. Like how are some of these young guys going to step in and have some of these guys taking the step to be contributors and whatnot? Because we got the heavies up front, doing their thing, but are we surrounding them with enough? And I think we are. Like, to be honest, I think it's there.
If it's not, it's really close.
Yes.
Like really, like where else? I know some people say, I'd like a little upgrade on CC maybe here, but I think it's pretty. It's got to be close now. I mean, what else are you supposed to outside of, if one of your goaltenders really locked it down, then I think it's pretty. I think it's likely that they get it done. They've been through that. Oh, lost to the champion. Oh, lost to the champion again. Do you buy into that? Like, oh, we watched them beat us this way. Now we know how to do it type of thing.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that for sure. I think it's all the experiences. Like, okay, why did we lose to Vegas? And where you can make an argument as to why they lost to Vegas. Like, guys were hurt, whatever. Why did we lose to Colorado? And you start to figure out those things, and now you're able to correct those mistakes. And when you go into the playoffs the next time, okay, now you're prepared for basically anything. But I think the Oilers, like, there's a couple things at play. How's Holloway going to come in? Because if he comes in and he's good, I don't think he needs to put up like 50, 60 points, but if he can come in and he can contribute and be a really serviceable player, then I don't think you need to go out and try to find another forward. Because I think they're one forward away for sure. And you can argue whether or not they need to upgrade their defense. So realistically, right now, today's team, in my opinion, they're 2 players away.
Okay.
Right. So 1 forward, 1 defenseman. But you've got to give this team an opportunity to see where they're at. You got to see, once again, is Holloway an option?
Yeah.
Right?
Can Broberg
Can
be
Broberg
that
be
guy?
that guy? And if they're not, then you get to the deadline. That's where you find your upgrade, and then you go. But I think this team is ready to roll. I think Kane being healthy is going to be big. He struggled all year, obviously, because he had a nasty injury. And then he got to the playoffs and he hurt his wrist? Something happened.
Well, the
to him
wrist
where he
would have,
couldn't do
or was it
anything.
another? Like, because his first wrist is from the cut, right?
Yeah, he had another injury in playoffs that really affected him as well. Maybe a broken hand or something. Something was
And
going
then
on.
we never
Yeah.
got to actually the full details on a lot of
On a
the
lot
injuries
of the
this year.
injuries
Like
happened,
people thought Nuge was hurt during that. There's a few other players, but we never actually. I think Hyman.
It's basically after
It was
Hyman
very
was hurt,
well. Usually,
yeah,
you get
yeah.
the list of injuries.
Yeah.
This year, we didn't get, or last season, we didn't get the
Not a
list of
full-blown
injuries.
list.
I
Yeah.
knew-
Hyman was hurt for
Yeah,
sure.
it was Kane, Hyman, CC were the 3 big ones that were hurt.
Yeah.
That's what I'd heard. And so you want to see, like, okay, CC. Everybody was like, oh, Madison, CC. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, you got to be better. So they're going to say, okay, well, now that you're healthy, let's see where you can go with this. And if you can improve the numbers and, the Corsi and all that stuff, then maybe you keep them. But do you upgrade on, like, Desharnais? Do you upgrade on Broberg? Like, where does that upgrade come from? And that's what I think you need to be able to see.
Well, when you're talking about up front, it's like, adding that forward. What type of forward are you looking to add?
You need
Because,
big body.
okay, so
You-
Oh, you're
I-
looking for a Butte? Okay.
Yeah.
Bukestad was an unbelievable addition.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of shocked he didn't come back.
You
Like,
get
he-
chance at a little bit of cash somewhere else.
I know,
Do
but
not take
how
it.
many times do you get to be a part of a team like this? Like, this is a special team. Like, you don't get 2 generational talents on a team very often. And so you're looking at it, you're like, okay, 2 million in the desert, and I'm still getting dressed in a barn. Or it can be here in Edmonton, get treated like royalty, be playing with the 2 best players in the NHL and win a Stanley Cup. Like, to me, if you're going to talk about $1 million versus $2 million or 1.5 versus 2, like, now we're just splitting hairs.
Maybe he's looking at the trade is going to happen.
Or he's just,
I think
they all know that this
He's
what's
coming
going to
right
happen.
back.
Is we have the deadline. Oilers going to reach out. He's
Yeah.
going to come here to the Oilers. He'll have had his time, and he'll have skipped the Edmonton winter, and he'll jump right to the spring here. Maybe
Move actually. If he pulls that off, they acquire Bukestad at the deadline again, and he got to spend the winter in Arizona and come in and win a Stanley Cup with the Oilers. That's an all-time move.
Yeah.
That would be right. I agree with you. Like, when you looked at guys that they had that they could hopefully keep around, number 1 on my list was always Bukestad.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he added a lot to this group. So
I would agree with you. And I think Costin actually might hurt a little bit more than we think.
yeah,
Like, he was a gamer. Like, he came in and he added such an element to that team because he could forecheck, he could put guys in the 15th
Yeah.
row of the building, he'd fight guys. He just added something that they didn't have.
bottom 6 is a bit softer
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Like, that would be something that
Yeah.
you would look at. I think the thing I said this morning about, like, winning the cup, I mean, the one person pointed out, like, Barry Bonds. Like, if you look at guys who were the best in the game for a time,
Yeah, the best to have never won.
they almost always deliver a championship.
Dan Marino,
Marino
Barry
didn't.
Bonds. Is there a guy in basketball?
Charles Barkley.
Charles,
Barkley,
Charles
yeah.
wasn't like Charles was
They were an
great,
MVP.
Hall of Famer. Him and Karl Malone and Stockton, like, but they weren't Jordan,
Yeah.
LeBron,
Yeah.
McDavid, Crosby, Ovechkin. Like, they weren't the best in the. I think Barkley have an MVP.
He did.
Malone had one MVP too, but
Barkley won it the
I'm
one.
talking like generational talents. They always deliver a title. Like the guy said, yeah, Barry Bonds didn't get one, but everybody knows Barry
But in
Bonds.
the end, of those guys, they at least get to the championship. Barry Bonds did get to World Series final in 2002.
Barkley
They lost to
did.
the Angels.
Malone
Barkley
Stockton
lost. I
did.
think Barkley would have won if it wasn't for MJ.
Yeah.
Like, if he didn't
that's
go up
true.
against
Yeah.
MJ, he
Yeah.
would have
Yeah,
had
Malone
that.
and Stockton would have one or two as well.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so at the very least, you're expecting that he's going to get to a cup final, and then you never know what happens in a cup final.
Yeah, it's just when you put Connor on that level, and not like Draisaitl and everybody else that they brought in, like as a team, but just McDavid on that level, those guys 90% of the time deliver titles.
Yeah.
That's why I think if it's not this year, it's going to be happening rather soon. But I look at this year, and like right now with our partners over at Coolbet, there, like Carolina is the Cup favorite at 8-1. The Oilers have the second best odds to win the Stanley Cup. And I don't think, like since the run in 2017, right? It was 17. They've won a couple, like they
16, 17, they ended the decade of the darkness, won the one playoff round, and then we don't need to get
lost
into
to
the
the
second
Ducks
round
and
playoff
all
round.
that stuff. So, but like after that, the year after, I remember we had Frank Cervalli in our studio. He's like, Edmonton Oilers are going to win the Stanley
Yes.
Cup. And everybody in town's like, oh man, the Oilers, look what they did last year. Like, this is it. To me, when we were picking them to win the Cup back then, it was just a classic Edmonton homer pick. Like, to me right now, it's a legitimate, the Oilers should probably be the favorite to win the Cup because Boston isn't going to be what they were last year.
Mhm.
Tampa's not a juggernaut anymore like they were for a few years. Colorado's not as strong as they were when they won the Cup. Like, to me, there's not like that one team that everybody's going to be afraid of. And sometimes if you can't find what that team is, maybe it's the team right here in our city, right? Like,
Is Florida going to be good?
I don't know.
Because like last season, they were actually a preseason favorite.
Because they
I
had
think
that
they're in the
great
top
year the
three.
year
Yeah.
before, right? And then they end up going on the run this
Yeah.
year in the playoffs. So
So can Florida, challenge,
Well, keep the West, though.
keep in the
Is
West?
there anyone in West that you look at and go, these are the guys or teams that the Oilers really have to worry about? And then is there any of those teams that you sit there and be like, the Oilers aren't better than them or the best of seven? It's going to go far.
I worry about Colorado.
still,
Yeah,
Kill McCarr and Nathan McKinnon.
they've got some horses there. They've revamped that second line, and then you've got Landeskog, and I know he's out.
Isn't it to like for a while still?
He'll be out for a while, but he'll be back probably right around playoffs.
That's what I think. Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden you're going to take this player who's your captain, who's one of the best players on that team, and you're going to insert him into the lineup that is fully revamped, and you just become way more dangerous again.
Does Vegas scare you?
Not really. Like I was thinking about last year when Oilers and Vegas were still in, the other three teams had already moved on, I believe. And it was like out of the last remaining teams, I was like, this is the year.
Yeah.
Like they're the best team. And like Florida, like goaltending, like are we sold on the goaltending yet? Like
Well, it just depends
If Bob shows up.
Yeah, Bob
yeah,
decides to show
so
up.
I mean, like I look out east, no, west, Colorado, I think is a threat. Do they have enough like I just
Like
look
horses
at
to run?
like
Yeah.
are they dynamic enough to beat the Oilers this year? I'm not sure if I say they are.
I'm gonna get people throwing stuff at me. Spitzer, Nielsen, Belle with you here on the EST Hangout. Why haven't you had like is it? No one's mentioned the Leafs. Are they not a threat? Like legit? Like what do we make of the Toronto Maple Leafs then going into this season? Or
Did
is
we
this
talk
like
about them here?
they've got players?
this might be the first time we talk about them on Evans Sports Talk, which to me is quite an accomplishment.
But that's the
Like,
thing. Like, there's usually talked about a
Yeah.
lot. They do have weapons. They are gonna, be a top team in the East. But are they not just? Are they just outside of some of those top echelon teams? Then
I think they are. I don't like talking about the Leafs, partly because I played for Montreal, and so there's just this natural deep feeling of no, I don't like talking about them. Now, with that being said, you've got Matthews, Marner, Nylander. What's going to happen with Nylander? Is he going to be just sour grapes all year long because he's not
trying to
getting
get a deal? Like, yeah.
deal that he wants? Because if you look at that situation, and it's going to be an interesting one, he's actually put up more points than Marner in the last 2-3 years. So Marner's got the bigger contract, and this guy wants to be on that level. However, he's not getting that answer. So where's his mindset going to be? So that's going to be a big factor. You add in Bertuzzi, you add in Domi. I like both of those ads because that adds a little bit of grit and sandpaper. Like it's an element that they didn't have before. Like you try to add Wayne Simmons, who did a great job, but he was getting older, he's a little bit slower. He's not the same factor that he used to be. But now you got guys that have some skill, and they have that. I think they're going to be right there, especially with the fact that the East is kind of different, right? Like the biggest foil, Boston, is not going to be the same team anymore. So does that do it? Is Reeves give them enough to get them over the hump in terms of the toughness factor? Lots of question marks there.
What is Pittsburgh considered a dark horse?
You know what to make of Pittsburgh and Washington anymore? Like,
If you're bringing in Eric Carlson, I feel like
Yeah.
you're trying to
You're
you
trying,
feel
yeah.
in yourselves as the organization that you're one of those teams.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why are you making that move for Carlson?
well, he could be Dubas wants to show his new boss that he can pull a trigger on something. I mean, I'm assuming Carlson would be hurt 50 games in anyway. Like last year was a miracle that he was able to stay healthy. The guy's been hurt all the time, but
Washington, I would say yes.
Well, Washington had so many guys injured last year, right? Like, I don't, that wasn't even the Washington Capitals last year. That was a different team, I thought, entirely. It's just interesting because in the East, people expect like Detroit to maybe take a step, or Ottawa to maybe take a step, or Buffalo to kind of not get over the hump, but get into the postseason. So you've got these three teams that are kind of younger and trending up in that direction. And then is there a bounce back here from Pittsburgh and Washington? I would assume when Dubas took over, they must have told him, let's go try to get Sid another one.
Yeah.
Because if not, why would you trade for Eric Carlson?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me if you're Pittsburgh in 3 or 4 years, you could be in a full-blown tear down rebuild.
Yep.
So they're looking at it going, okay, let's try to win a Stanley Cup in the next couple of years. And I'm not sure that they've got the juice to do that anymore. I'd be pretty surprised if they trade for Carlson and don't make the playoffs, though. Right? If you have Malkin and Carlson and Sidney Crosby, even at this stage of their career, and you got to deliver a playoff spot.
Yeah. So, Matty, are you thinking that Florida, Toronto, Carolina are the top three in the East?
I'm still putting Boston up there.
Really?
I still think that.
Well, they were
they're
so good last year.
They're not going to be that.
Yeah.
But they're going to be a team that I think. It is Carolina. Like it's
Carolina.
It's almost like they're to me that Carolina's on its own spot, and then it starts going like Florida. They're the class. They're the right at the top, and then you get into a class of like Florida. I will have Boston in there. Toronto would be in there.
This text to 780-218-9999 says New Jersey. With Hughes and all those guys, that could be a team that's could definitely, and they had a good year last year. Like
the Rangers. What's up with the Rangers?
Did the Rangers take a step back though? Like I know they went out and got Wheeler, right? So they have some size, but where's he at in terms of his game?
New Jersey would scare me more than the Rangers.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, unless Shesterkin has a huge bounce back year.
Yeah,
he was so-ish, I thought, last year at times.
The thing with the Rangers, though, is the coaching change. Peter Laviolette comes in usually, and he gets that 1-year bump where he elevates his team pretty good.
Yeah.
And how much is there? The players are happy that Gallant is gone.
You didn't play? Did you play for?
No, I didn't.
Play it. One of the guys, not Gager, one of the guys played for Laviolette. Said he was actually pretty good.
But that's what they said about Gallant too, right?
And you get that for a few years.
Yeah.
And then it kind of peers off. But like, so is there a bump that you're going to get from the Rangers this year? You're going to see from them with Laviolette stepping in. Because people had high expectations for the Rangers last year, and they didn't really deliver that.
Yeah, well, where's Kako? Like, is he going to take a step? Is Lafreniere going to take a step?
Guys,
like, there's some guys that there's a lot of question marks behind, right? Like, it's not that they had bad years, but they didn't have years that warranted, I guess, their draft status.
This text comes in and says, "Hey boys, what about Dallas, LA, which we haven't."
And Lance saying about that, bringing up Dallas too.
Yeah.
780-218-9999.
Dallas is like, I love Ottinger. I was a little bit disappointed with him in the playoffs last year, mostly because I was betting on him a bunch. I kept letting me down. I was like, come on, Ottinger, you're my guy. I was supposed to be riding with you here. You're killing me. So he disappointed me a little bit there. But when you Dallas has done, I find Dallas very interesting because they had this group built around Sagan and Jamie Benn, and it did really well. And then, lots of times when those guys fall off in those teams really sort of take a significant step back. But then all of a sudden they roll in Robertson, Rupe Hintz, when Ben and Sagan can still be contributors, but they don't have to be the guys anymore. Pavelski, like, to me, they've done an excellent job transitioning from a really good team to another really good team with not much downtime, which I think is extremely difficult to do in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I feel like Dallas is going to fall into the San Jose Sharks kind of spin cycle there, where they're really, really competitive, and I think there's high expectations, but they don't quite have what it's going to take to kind of break through.
Why do you think it never broke through for San Jose? I was saying today, I said, I think Carolina in the East is kind of like a San Jose East. And Was it goaltending with San Jose? Like, why didn't San Jose get that done?
It's a great
I'm
question.
trying to think back. Like,
Well, so they lost to the Pens in the only cup final that they got to.
but on
I'm
that
trying to
team, they would
remember
have
what they
had
had.
pretty significant
They
pieces
had
like
Thornton, Marlowe,
Burns. So you had a defenseman. Who were their goalies on those teams? Was that like
they had Vlasic was there at one point. Wasn't it Jones the goaltender?
Was he there the year that
I think he was there.
Do we know if it was 16? Can't remember what year.
I don't know why they never got it done. I think the easy way to look at it is to like question Thornton and Marlowe as your leaders, kind of. And Thornton, I mean, Thornton, he won some significant hardware along the way. And Patty Marlowe was always
And Martin Jones
number 2
and James Reimer were their goalies that year.
Yeah. Well, then that's why they didn't win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Logan Couture on that team.
Jones was okay.
Hurdle.
A young Couture would have been on that team.
He was on that team, wasn't
Yeah.
Who?
Pavelski.
Yep.
Who else
He's the
was
captain.
on that team?
Justin Braun, Brent Burns, Logan Couture, Brendan Dillon, Thomas Hurdle, Martin Jones, Patrick Marlowe, Paul Martin, Matt Nieto, Roman Bullock, Nick Spalling, Chris Tierney, Mark Edward Vlasic,
So blue line,
Joel Ward.
Like,
they
like
had some good pieces
Zubrit.
there for sure.
There were players there.
yeah. So is goaltending.
I think
it has to be
I think
goaltending.
Martin Jones was actually pretty good, especially when they went to the final.
Yeah.
There's just something there that just I don't know.
It's just part of the DNA of a
Yeah.
team sometimes,
Yeah.
and it's I don't know. You look at the Capitals were being told that they were the Sharks of the East for the longest time until they
that's
eventually
true.
punched through. Just a team that's great through the regular season, gets to the playoffs, and just doesn't have it in them to when it matters most to find a way to get to that next level to get that win.
Yeah, like with Dallas, if you think about it, like they've got a really good team and they've got some really good pieces, but they don't necessarily have the horses. Like if you look at Colorado, you go up against Colorado, and who's the answer for McKinnon? Who's the answer for Makar? So while they have an unbelievable team and they've got they've got the depth that they need to compete, there's just not that game breaker. And I think that's partly what it might be, right?
Well, that's what people say about Carolina too.
Yeah,
Aho's great. Svechnikov when healthy, I think maybe end up being that guy. Marty Necas is an awesome player.
Yep.
But this comes back around to why I think McDavid's going to win a Stanley Cup. Like you have the big guy in the fight. It makes a significant difference. I think the goaltending thing's interesting with like San Jose. Like Vegas won it last year with Hill, who played really well. Like he played really well when he got going on there. With Campbell and it's like with Campbell and Skinner this year, if they would have had a goalie play better in that series against Vegas, I think they could have won it.
Skinner needed to be average.
Let's talk about this for a second.
Absolutely, though. I totally agree.
So I don't know how you guys feel about this, but you get into the playoffs, right? Skinner hadn't played that many back-to-back games ever. And so he's probably starting to feel tired. He's not the same guy. Campbell, every single time he came into the playoffs or into a game, he was lights out. Does something change if Campbell's in net?
Yeah, but when he was in net and playing lights out, how scared were you still of every shot being thrown on Campbell?
No, I wasn't.
I think Jay Woodcroft was. I think most people were, and I think Jay Woodcroft was.
The first game, 100%. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh no.
He was great.
And then all it's lights out, and I'm like, okay, so maybe he's coming into the game. He doesn't have the pressure of being the number one guy, and all of a sudden now he's number two, and he's like, hey, I just got to go in and just play. And now he's not overthinking it.
Like, but then if you make him the starter, does he not then overthink it at that point?
Who knows?
Boys.
But by that point, he's feeling himself.
Maybe opener?
They'll start Skinner.
That's to say, Campbell come in.
Maybe
completely change hockey.
At that point, right? Like he's made some saves. He's made stuff that he hadn't all year. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm feeling myself here. Like this feels good. And you throw him in for a game. Like maybe he steals it. You never know. But like with Skinner, and I understand the point of why you went back to Skinner, but like Skinner was tired. You gotta ask anybody. They're like, this guy hadn't played that many games back to back to back, and he was exhausted.
So how do you go about that this year with goaltending this year? Is this a competition, or is this it's Stuart Skinner's net? You got to make sure he's still the number one guy, but you map out his game so that he's ready to go for the playoffs.
Well, let's go back to last year. So he's gotten the experience now, right? He understands the grind. And playoff hockey for goaltenders is a different style of hockey for even goaltenders, right?
100% it is.
They're getting a lot more crash and bang, a lot more people finishing up, at the blue paint after whistles. And I'm sure for Skinner, it was a wicked learning experience for him that he's gonna, have hopefully going into this year for a deep playoff run. Campbell, I'm with you. Like, put him in, and I was still like, oh my god, like so scared every truck. And I like Campbell. I want him to be successful. But I think you have to go with body of work, and playoffs is not the time to go. Maybe on a whim, especially when and when they were putting him in, they were like a game away from a series going one way or the other. It's not like we were game 1, game 2, and we're trying to figure this out where it was deeper in the series. So I like personally, I think he didn't build enough trust to earn it
Throughout the year. I fully agree with you on that.
And where some of these goaltenders, these secondary goaltenders, like you know what their A game looks like, you know what their B game looks like, and they've kind of given you that body of work that you can put them in and what you're going to get out of them. I think because Campbell was so underwhelming with his performances, I just don't think you could have done it. I think Vegas at what point does Vegas just start throwing melons at his chest saying, yeah, friggin' right? It's like
that was Aiden Hill over the course of the year. It wasn't like Aiden Hill came in and was just a game breaker. And then all of a sudden he's in the playoffs and he's just like...
But they also had no choice.
They had no choice.
They had no choice. They had to go to...
But he became the better goaltender.
I actually think it was the worst thing for us because I actually thought Hill was outplaying.
If Persois stays in that series, the Oilers win it.
I totally agree.
Yeah. That was the best thing that happened to the Golden Knights, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I remember texting because he went down at the end of game 1, right? It was a high scoring game. He went down.
That's right.
It was
early. I don't think it was game 2.
I remember texting somebody right after that game, and I said, "This is bad news. Like this Persois injury is bad news for the Oilers."
Was it?
Or maybe
it was
game 2, or was it game?
It was in Edmonton.
When did he get
it was here in Edmonton.
It was early.
Who wasn't Vegas a higher seed?
Somebody in the YouTube chat will let us know. Somebody in the nasty chat
might be right. Game 6
it was game 3.
Where were the Oilers knocked out? Well, we've just blocked this from our mind.
Oh,
so much.
I'm trying to figure it out. Whenever it happened, to me that was the turning point of that series.
I agree
because the Oilers they didn't win bouncing goals off of his back and stuff. So, like they were meant. Like Persois was maybe Vegas would have gone away. They should have, but maybe they would have gone away from him anyway and ended up with Hill. But the moment Persois got hurt, I was like, "Oh."
Quinn Phillips says it was game 3 in the nasty chat. Thanks, Quinn.
Thanks, Quinn. Appreciate it, Quinn. So yeah, it was game 3 went down, and it was at that moment you're like, "Oh man!" And it was funny because it's not like all of a sudden you're scared of Aiden Hill, but you saw what the others were doing to Persois and the way he plays, and he's a little bit more loosey goosey. They would have won that series for sure. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise.
Here's the one thing too that I would say, and I don't know if this ever plays in a coach's mind because I don't think you could coach scared, but if you play Jack Campbell in like game 6, let's say, and you lose because Jack Campbell plays poorly, like what's
the rope is ultra thin,
right? But
like it's one bad goal gone.
So then why play him?
But it's so hard to score.
If you're going to have the rope that thin, if you're going to throw your goalie in that most critical game and be like, I am going to give you the shortest of leash possible, then at that point, that's why you go to Stuart Skinner.
That's fair. But the problem is that Stuart Skinner wasn't the same goaltender in the playoffs that you saw all year because of how tired he was.
That's why it became a conversation. Because it wasn't the same guy, and Campbell wasn't the same guy, but you still couldn't trust Campbell because of the guy that he wasn't was so damn scary that you couldn't go. I know it. I remember being on the radio back then and saying I think this is now a legitimate conversation.
Yeah.
With the way, but I don't think anybody would have had the balls to throw Campbell in to start.
No, not based off his body of work. But I watched those games so closely because I was doing the pre and post.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm like watching Campbell and like Campbell's body language, everything about what he was doing was different than what it was in the season. Like he was making saves that were hard look routine. And so usually when you start to see that out of a goaltender, you're like, okay, well, maybe he might have it. And then with Skinner, it's like stuff that he was making look routine before wasn't routine anymore. It was like he was giving up bigger rebounds than he ever had. Like he was slower moving side to side. And you're just like, okay, well, like you got one goaltender that's super athletic and he's making these crazy saves that he has no business making because he's feeling it. And then the other guy, and so that's what was playing in my mind. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But I fully agree with you guys. Like, yeah, the body of work was Skinner, and you have to as a coach, but it's an interesting talking point.
They got to die with your best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to go down with Skinner if you were going down. Now with this year, if Campbell comes out and starts playing really well at the beginning of the year, and he's known to be streaky,
Mhm.
would you run with him a bit and just let Skinner rest for a bit? Like, would you? Campbell's playing extremely well. Would you start him in 4 or 5, or you got to keep both of these guys going? Do you think early in the year?
I think you got to keep both of them going. Yeah. Like I because Campbell gets streaky. I mean, he's gonna have to figure that out. Maybe there's some early value, that's generated too from that. But I think you got to keep kind of both from going because like we're all sitting here going like if we were to play in a game 7 Stanley Cup final right now, who's the guy we're putting in net? So you don't want to have him sitting.
Skinner.
Yeah, right. So you don't want to have him just as of right now.
Yeah.
This season could change everything, but I don't think you can just say, okay, well, hey, we got a streaky goaltender, we're going to run with this guy when right now in the back of your mind that this is a guy that you have to make sure is prepared. So you still have to make sure he's getting the starts he needs against the teams he needs to compete against. So I don't think you run with streaky.
No, you got to keep them both going, right? Like that's probably the way you have to step up and view it this year. Yeah. And overall, I mean, if they are they still bad defensively? Like when you watch them play last year, I know it's easy to say, oh, Skinner kicked out this rebound here and stuff, but to be honest, they're not a team that's going to be. Well, what was it? Was the year it was Talbot when he was like nominated for the Vezina? They were like bottom 10 in goals against, I think, that one year. But for the most part, this is not a team that they're going to score the most goals in the league because they're naturally gifted, and you have Connor McDavid who does special things. But you think they're capable, or how do they get to the point where they can, like when they win a game 2-1 during the regular season, it's a story. It's like, you others know how to win close games now, when really they don't. So at least low scoring close games. They can win high scoring close games. But do you think this group ever gets to that? Or if they're going to become champions, they're going to become champions by scoring 4.5 goals per night?
No, they have. There's got to be a combination of it.
Yeah.
So do you remember they went on a stretch right, towards the end of the year
with Ekholm?
With Ekholm, as soon as he got there, and then they had a couple bad games, and then boom, all of a sudden they were playing lights out defensively. Like they have the capability of doing it. Do you expect it to be every single night? Well, no, probably not. Like, let's be honest, like you mentioned. They have to be able to figure out we can't give up 3. If we can keep this to 2, right? Like
they'll win 60 games.
You'll have 60 exactly.
Yeah.
So they just have to figure out like we're not going to be the best team defensively, and I don't think anybody expects that, but like let's be marginal. And like not 3 goals against.
Mm-hmm.
And that will help them win the Stanley Cup because you're going to score 4. So if you can somehow figure out how to take 1 goal away on average, well, now you've got your answer.
And this is why we're talking about them being a contender, because what a wicked problem to have. Like, okay, well, with our power play and with our offense, we know we're going to score goals. Where some teams are going into a game going, geez, like it's going to be a battle to get 1 or 2 here. Like where it's going to be a tight checking game, and Oilers are sitting there going like, hey, we're going to put a pile in the net, so we just need to make sure a pile doesn't go in ours. Like that's what a way to approach the game. And if they can, the defense has been an issue because some of their, high-end defensemen, lacked a mature game, like a tight checking game. Like you always found, and it's really easy on a highlight, the replay, you go, geez, why was that guy wide open? Or how did this guy lose his man? Or, what are we doing here? But if they can, and it's not just the defense, like a lot of that is a 5-man unit with communication and whatnot. So if they can get that style of game against certain opponents, I think that's what it'll take for them to be successful.
I'm tying all the conversation together here, and I'm thinking they need Kevin Constantine to come in.
No, they don't.
And have them block
no,
shots.
They don't.
What do you think about that?
They do not. You know what?
Consultant.
Absolutely
role
not.
Once a week.
Eichel would be on the first airplane back to Germany. McDavid would literally pick up his house and drive outside the city. That would be the worst answer. They have that already. Yeah, Hitchcock. How'd that go?
He was going to come in and fix it all. Remember?
He didn't fix anything.
Yeah, that should
Well, he's
happen.
only interim. This is only consultant role.
This
This is a full heck of
consultant.
maybe consultant role.
Man,
Zoom him in.
no,
You don't even have to have him in the bill. Just zoom him in.
no.
The cast might too.
Let's see how that works. The Nisku rink, is it, have you guys fully,
Well,
where's
one-
it at right now? Like,
Yeah, so the one side's operational. You know, Bellsy's group's practicing out there every day. And obviously CCRHL is
Yeah.
playing out there in the evenings. A lot of the Gorillas and Saints Pro programming is practicing out there. But the east side, sorry, the west side's open. The east side, that one is I think they have it slated for October 2nd.
Oh, so
They're
we've
gonna-
plenty enough time.
Oh,
for
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
yeah.
the boards were going in. Saw that the glass was going up.
Yeah.
They finished painting. The jumbotron's up. Looks nice.
Fun is
She
that?
looks
Like
nice.
to be involved.
Yeah.
Even like on
Yeah.
whatever level you guys are involved, it's
It's
not
nice.
just cool.
It's really cool. You know,
Yeah.
you walk into that facility and
Yeah.
well, my father-in-law is the architect, so I get a little bit of the, you know, why this is built like this, why that's designed like that, and I get a little more of the backstory. But you know, you drive up to that building and you walk through those doors, and it's like the world's gone, and now you're just in, you know, like what a hockey arena should feel like. Hey, we're in this hockey world now.
Yeah. Hockey
And-
land.
Yeah, hockey land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things on that rink that are little details that maybe some people don't know?
Well, yeah. So when you talk about like how sunlight works, like everyone's trying to put windows and like the indirect sunlight. So if you walk through the doors, you'll see like panels of indirect, but it's not, you know, it's second period of a hockey game and you got the sun in your eyes, you know, going like, I can't see a puck. So the way the windows are kind of laid out and how the sunlight still lights up the building, but how it comes in.
Oh,
is a
that's
lot
kind of
different.
cool.
Yeah.
It's like the Meadows rink
Yeah.
down the southeast, right? They got the windows right there. Sometimes they could be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah. Shoot from the red line.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, the one-
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
it's like on a baseball diamond where you
Yeah.
can see the shade. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's the difference between like having something designed by just a general architect or having someone who is a former hockey player
Yeah.
going like, yeah, these are things that are important for hockey players. Like, you know, how you walk into the building, the dressing rooms, you know, the layout of the stands and the seating and you know, what are the optimal views. You know, I think a lot of these new facilities, the way the municipalities have to build them, you know, it's attached to a library, it's attached to a swimming pool. So here you're trying to have this really cool hockey environment, you know, and vibe. And you know, and you're right beside by a library. It's like, you know, like,
Yeah.
So how do you have that all in the same thing? So just being like dedicated to hockey, I think the environment's gonna be really cool. And the other cool thing about it is, you know, you go to Rogers Place and I can't remember what the ratio is in terms of how many people to how many like washrooms there are.
Yeah.
And this one is like 7 times that. So,
Oh wow.
you know, you're going into third period, going into overtime, and you got to run. You're not waiting in line to go use the urinal. You know, you quickly finish up and you're back out there.
You can take a
Drop.
piss anywhere.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's not like it come well.
Yeah. It's like it's under the radar, really
Yeah.
cool thing though.
yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. And then, you know, just some of the other cool. And I know this is all kind of geek stuff, but the way the stairs flare. So, you know, the way it was explained to me is like people are sometimes like cattle. They like straight lines and they like to be close to walls and stuff like that. So the way you flare in and flare out makes, you know, kind of helps direct you through the facility and
Wow,
just
look
some
at this, eh?
yeah,
It's like it was designed like analytically. You know, like I got some background on that.
yeah.
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 So you say your dad?
Father-in-law.
Father-in-law's the
Yeah.
architect. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be an architect briefly as a child. I did, yeah. I took drafting in like high school and stuff. But then I got caught cheating because it was like you would do it on a computer. Right?
Yeah.
You would do drafting on a computer. So it was just I told my buddy, I said, just put my name at the bottom, print off a second one. Like no big deal.
The exact same.
Yeah, it's exact same. But they were all supposed to be the exact same.
Well,
Oh,
no,
okay.
you
They're
guys-
all
But-
supposed to.
no, but
Okay, that changes things.
Yeah,
You're not the exact same thing. You pretty good tell.
it's the same project. So he prints it off, gives me one, boom, perfect. We hand it in. Next day, I think his name was Mr. Duchek. He was a good teacher. Anyway, he calls us up. He goes, Dustin, did you do this? I said, yeah, of course I did it. What are you talking about? He goes, this is I can't remember which buddy it was, but he goes, well, this is his. And I said, yeah. I said, but they're all the same. Like he goes, yeah, well, his has like there's like 1 pixel out just to the right of like this design, and mine had the exact same 1 pixel. He goes, you guys both made this exact same area. I was just like, sorry, man. Like, so that was the end of my dream of being an architect. I was like, if I get caught cheating and drafting in grade 11, I know I might have plus I'm a horrible I don't like drawing. I would have been a horrible architect.
idea.
But I like the idea of designing things, you
It's-
know?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
instead you designed this.
yeah, well,
There
kind
you
of.
go.
I mean, kind of put it together. So that's kind of fun. I
You're
didn't
the
have to draw a
architect of
single
this.
thing. So,
Oh,
so
too
that's
funny.
nice.
Hello
Yeah.
Hockey on Saturday, 10 o'clock radio Edmonton Sports Talk.
Are you here this week or are you on the road
I'm
again?
in Lethbridge.
Lethbridge. Well, that's stomping.
Yeah.
Just in that
I was in
Lloyd.
Lloyd,
There's
Minster,
Lloyd.
touring all the thriving metropolises.
Let's start with L.
Yeah, let's start with L.
Where are you guys playing in Lethbridge?
I don't even know, actually.
Cavendish Farms.
We play against Spitzer's team, though. That's all I
Yeah,
know.
Saturday night.
You play Spitz's team this
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah, Saturday.
This is brewing out. Where's Cavendish Farms or which one's that? Is that like on
the ATB facility there.
It's a man. I've been
twin
gone to
drinks
Lethbridge for like
The
20
twin
years.
sheeter, the new
intimidating
twin
each other?
sheeter they built.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
Drinks the night before.
What are you guys gonna like
chumming up.
stare at each other
Yeah.
and like try to intimidate
We,
each
if we
other?
were
Like
gonna, if we were gonna, we got the
100%.
lock shop coming up here. If we were gonna bet on this game,
no,
who
No,
would-
don't do
is there
that.
a
Don't do
favorite?
that with
Is
Don't
there
do that. His team's the favorite.
Okay.
We're always the
So
underdog.
Elzie's the dog here. Eh?
Yeah.
He's a sandbagger. He's a sandbagger.
You guys coached against each
yeah,
other.
yeah, we've coached against each other.
What's the
this will
record?
be
Yeah. What's
second-
the head to
second
head?
time, right?
What is the head-to-head? 3 and
I don't
3.
know. I have no idea.
He wins it.
Come on, you keep track of this.
I don't
You
actually.
don't?
That I don't know.
So we're starting track now. This is
You can shoot it now.
So I would, I would be considered the San Jose Sharks. I think I was 3-0 in regular season, then 0-3 in knockout games, semifinals and finals, 2 straight.
Against this guy?
Yeah.
Oh wow, clutch
Just
team.
a clutch team.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you're gonna
Yeah,
have
show
to be
up when it
better than
counts.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you need a goalie. Who knows? Not to blame a young goaltender, but that's usually how it works.
Well, thanks
Yeah,
for
so-
stopping by.
Yeah,
Hopefully we
thanks
can
for
have
having
you
us,
again. Thank you, and we'll be sure to for sure have you back.
Yeah.
Coming up, it is the lock shop. You're in with us.
Yeah, Huss and I, yeah.
And then at noon, we think Tom might be by for the oil stream.
You know
We
if
don't
Tommy's
know.
coming back here today? Or
I have no idea. I'll make
Tom
sure-
is going to do the oil stream with Dustin at noon. We
Teamwork.
don't know where Tom's going to be doing it from. We think here, maybe not. We don't know. We'll find out at noon. That's all to come here in Edmonton.
Make sure you
Sports
stick
Talk.
around because we're going to redirect over.
We'll redirect you to the lock shop. So make sure the autoplay is sent to the right. Remember, you
We
took
have to
prep
do a
earlier?
video for the autoplay.
What should auto be on autoplay?
Yeah.
I think you'd have to take it off.
We'll get
So if you
YouTube
took it
Trev
off,
on
turn
it.
it back
Yeah.
on. But thank you, gentlemen, for stopping by again. And thank you for tuning in to the EST Hangout. Up next, like we said, the lock shop. Thanks for tuning in, and we will chat with you tomorrow.
The Nielsen Show.
You know, on airplanes, WestJet lately, in the little snack box they give you, a little